So if we look into that, that means that I gotta take that off. There we go. Really? That's pretty interesting. So why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? It's freaking odd. (2016), right? So this had to be report to be filed. Identity fraud, larceny. This is fire, suspicious, motor vehicle gone, arrival. Phone number of Karen Reed, John O'Keefe, 10 a.m. FLCKT CTK CO2. What is that? A tag? Okay. So he did report something. Suspicious activity spoken to, but it doesn't say anything. That's all it is. Well, that talks. Albert, text messages. Let's see. Oh, shit. John O'Keefe. Hey, bud, you working now? Negative. You know the guy that lives on Boar Lane across from me on Meadows? Rick is dealing in front of my house. Is he gone? Yeah. Car pulls up in what? In front of my house and he walks over. Any chance you got a plate? First I saw it, but kids said it happens often. George Williamson, I think it was, white SUV, and he has a brother. He's an idiot. Okay, back in tomorrow. I'll make some passes. Make some passes? Thanks, man. So who is he talking to? Good eye on the plate. Sounds like it was right. Female out of Revere. Warning 74. Probably son driving. That's her. He was in the passenger seat. Cute. Roger. Maybe her daughter? What the heck is this? I'm more concerned about this prick dealing over here. Roger that. I just intercepted the largest drug transaction. I think I put the fear on God into the poor kid. Told him this is no longer his spot. Looked about 920. 1920. So it's 19. I just intercepted the largest drug transaction. Ha ha ha. Was it the same car? Different car. 3 young white girls. Girls? I saw them park and him coming up his driveway. That's interesting. So I stopped him before he got out of the car. He's a little douchebag. What's his name? George Williamson. Thanks. And there's another brother. Not sure if he's older or younger, but George is the idiot. George Williamson. So let's see. Let's see if we can put a face to this George Williamson. Okay, hold on. But that was pretty interesting. Hold on. Where did my little face go? Okay, wait. Okay, wait. Let's find you, George Williamson, and see what you look like. George Williamson. Ouch. Canton Actually, he said Norwood. Norwood, Mass. Yeah, that's not him. That guy looks like he's like 90. So this may not be for people. Let's see. Let's go back to this. Then he says, okay, wait. I'm going to bring this one up. Huh. Look like a dope. Straight out of Deliverance. Ha 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 ha. He's just gonna set up on Canterbury now. Oh, so that's the video that everybody's putting up. So I guess that's George Williamson. Interesting. He's getting a meeting soon. I'm working. He's on probation. I may call his PO. I'm at work. So when are these text messages? Because I want to know. That's May 18th, 2021. So, not sure. It's gonna get a. That's the same. In front of that lawn, that's where they found Craig Casey. He's getting a beating soon. I'm working. He's on probation. I may call his PO. I'm at work. I got in his face and said no more deals in front of my house. He seemed scared enough to obey. Guess not. So, and there's a little video. Let's see if we can download the video. No, because this is just PDF. So the video is probably attached. That kid is ballsy. He saw me and started to walk over, so I went in. Then they proceeded to sit in the back seat for 10 minutes. They just left. On the door, what's up, and to walk over. He saw me on the door. I yelled, what's up, and he started to walk over. John is worse than I am. This is what she sent me. If you talk to him, tell him I see him. What am I good? Wrong plate. Nothing came back to it. Just saw that myself. So they looked at the plate. Trooper ran the same plate 2 weeks ago. Huh. Maybe my desk guy got it wrong. I'll run it myself. We will set up on him tomorrow. I'm working days. Hold off on calling probation. I'd like to jam him up. So is that John? I wonder who's the one being aggressive. Is it Kevin Albert or is it John? No, he ran it right. Not coming back to anything, just that it was round 316. I was able to take a deep breath, so I will hold up, okay? Still working, haha, still working. I am. Got a guy out front. He there? Be right there, buyer. Probably. You trust? Thrust? Yes. I'm in PU? Pajamas? No, that's PJs. What dial? Oh my. Yep, sorry. So Sergeant Good and Chip. So who are these? Sergeant Good and Chip. Sean Good. So this is John O'Keefe. This is Sergeant Good and Proctor. Guys, this is George Williamson who lives on Burr Lane. He's been doing deals right in front of John O'Keefe's house on Meadows Avenue and Pleasant. John confronted him 2 weeks ago and showed him his passion gun. Apparently, he doesn't care. This car has a Florida. Yeah, that's what I thought. FYI. I'll call you guys if he comes back to that location. Roger, pretty brazen. Who is John O'Keefe? BPD guy. Roger that. Adopted the Furbush kids when mom and dad died 6 months apart. Great guy. He may tear his head off. He should. This kid's a goof. Oh my god. So who said great guy? BPD guy. Roger. Who's C? I want to know who C is. Is that Chip? That's gotta be Chip. So that's a bunch of open stuff. That's pretty cool. And close. Okay, so vehicle forensics. This is gonna be a bunch of scribbles from Verla. There's nothing. That's it. 2 pages. Why would you do that? That's so stupid. You're charging your this is pathetic. So on Thursday, oh, I want to see that. So I'm going to share it and I'm going to bring it up. Here we go. So on August 21st, 2023, interview. Jesus, Loki Logren. Over a year. On Thursday, August 10th, 2023, at approximately 11:45 a.m., Brian Logren, DOB, blah, 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 came into Norfolk District Attorney's Office for a pre-scheduled interview. Brian is employed with the town of Canton with the Department of Public Works and was working during the early morning of January 29, 2022, plowing the Canton roadways during the heavy snow and blizzard conditions. One of the areas that Brian was responsible for removing the snow from was the area of Fairview Road and Cedar Crest. The following transcript of the audio recorded interview. So where is that audio recorded interview? It's probably embedded in one of these files. It is August 10th. And August 10th, 11:45 a.m. Location is in Norfolk District Attorney's Office, 45 Shomut Road, Canton. This is Trooper Michael Proctor along with Sergeant Mechanic, spelled Yuri, Yuribukhenik. Mechanic. She's Russian, with the Norfolk District Attorney's Office. Why don't you just say Massachusetts State Police? And this is the interview with Brian Logren, Lughran, date of birth, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so why don't we start with the night of the 29th? And whatever you can recall to the best of your recollection, were you working? Any kind of, just walk us around what time, oh my God, compounded questions. You were called out and just everything you can recall at this point. We were called out at 2:30 in the morning. I believe it's roughly around 2:30 in the morning. I arrived at the barn at 2:15. I was in my truck. I went down, proceeded to do Cedar Crest to the very end, all the way back to Denham Street, back down Cedar Crest, left on Fairview, up to Fairview, back to Chapman, down to Spring Lane, and then back up Fairview. Repeated it again. And the barn, what is that? Where is that located? Oh, 160 Bolivar Street, Canton, Mass. It's kind of like a shop? Yeah. Okay. So you got there around 2:15. Did you immediately go out, or did you kind of get the trucks ready? How did that kind of process in particular work? Oh, most of the trucks have been done before. Okay. Mm-hmm. So once we got there, we know our routes was to get in and go, basically. And to the best of your recollection, if you could describe the weather conditions at like 2:30 a.m. and beyond that time while you were out plowing and sanding. 2:30 in the morning, it was snowing, not heavy, probably 2 inches on the ground. Oh, and progressively got worse during the night, probably being the worst around 4:30 ish. I'm not 100% time wise, but it was snowing at that point, and and that route you just described to us, was that your assigned route for that evening? Yes, that's pretty much every snowstorm. That's my route, and it's just a constant kind of loop of that. It is. They call it Lower Cedar Crest. So it's everything from Kings Road to Chapman. And are you driving a town truck, or is this a correct subcontractor's vehicle that you're operating? I'm operating a town vehicle. So Town of Canton DPW vehicle, correct. What kind of vehicle is it? It is an international, and it's a six-wheel dump. Six-wheel meaning four in the back, single axle, and correct. Two in the front, correct. And were you sanding and salting as well, or just plowing? Just plowing at the time. Was there anybody else with you? Are you partnered with another truck? Are there two of you plowing the same? No, why would they do that? Same road in each direction? Or how does it work? Or were you by yourself the entire vicinity? The subcontractors were called in at 3:30 in the morning. And the subcontractors, do they have the same routes? It or same as it depends. Bill, let me write that name, because I've been looking for Bill. Subcontractor usually he'll give me a medium or one subcontractor. Well, that's the guy from DPW. I can have as much as two, depending if another subcontractor is in there for a better or bigger route, more important route. He'll take one of mine and just leave me with just one subcontractor. So in addition to you, a subcontractor will be assigned to essentially help you out. Yes. To your assigned area, correct. Do you recall the subcontractor that night? The belief I had, it was by the yard landscape. Uh-huh. So I seen this before. So, and I can't honestly remember if I had a second one. All right, that's fine. And what time? What time did they arrive to help out? 3:30, around 3:30. Okay. With that area, with it being January, is there like a parking ban in effect with a snowstorm coming in from the town of Canton? Do you know? Yes, there is always a parking ban from November 1st to April. And what does the parking ban mean in your understanding? Come on, dogs. And my understanding, as long as if it doesn't interfere with the removal of the snow, that's fine. If it is, it's like hindering the removal of the snow, then we call, and they either police will go down, knock on the door, tell them to move it, or they'll just tow it. You remembering this snowstorm? Is there a reason behind it? Like, what's the reason behind this? You remember this day and this? No, behind what? Why are you asking him that so early in the game? I believe it or not, I know I remember a lot of my stuff when it comes to the work. Was this a significant amount of fall that was forecasted that day? It was. That day, I believe it was 18 inches. 18 inches of snow that was coming? Yep. So where the heck were you, mechanic? Weren't you supposed to know this? Do you remember any or obstructions that you had to call in to the police for that was obstructing removal of the snow for you that day? There was a vehicle there around 2:30, 3 a.m. in the morning in front of 34 Fairview. There was a vehicle? Correct. Okay, do you recall what kind of vehicle it was? 4H. 4H? Yes. And where along the property do you remember it to be parked? So it was on the street. It was looking at it was parked looking at the front door. It was to the left of the front door. Oh wait, so the left, which left? Like if you're standing in front of the house, left? Or I guess so. So it was on the street? Correct. It was on the street. Which way was it facing? Towards Cedar Crest or Chapman? Chapman. So it's parked towards Chapman on Cedar Crest. Excuse me, on Fairview, and it's to the left of the front door. Correct. Or to the left of the driveway? It was to the left of the driveway. The door was to the left of the driveway. The door was to the left of the driveway too. Okay. Okay, so how many spots up from the mailbox driveway would you remember it being parked that day or that night? I would say it was probably 4 or 5 spots up from the driveway. Okay. Was there anybody in the vehicle? Not that I recognized. And was the vehicle running? No. Did you notice footprints in the snow around the vehicle where you plowed? No. Did you notice any snow or footprints leading away from the vehicle towards the property, towards the driveway, towards the back of the house, towards the front of the house? Any of those? No. Do you remember if you saw something like, would you remember if you saw something like that? Yeah. Did you call Canton PD to have the vehicle removed or knock on what? Why would he knock? To have them knock on the door and get the vehicle removed? Or did you kind of, on your second swipe, did you have to notify Canton PD, get the vehicle removed? No. Was the vehicle removed for any reason while you were plowing that day? Not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of. By any other sources other than them driving it away. Not by, that is interesting. That is interesting. Not by, okay, wait. So the question was the vehicle removed for any reason where you were plowing that day? Not that I'm aware, driving it away. Okay. Oh my God. Okay, here we go. And then, okay. What was the only time that you saw that what was the only time? Why would you ask that? Why was the only time that you saw the 4H? Was that the only time you saw the 4H? Yes. So on your second pass, I mean, it was there for a significant period of time. It was there for at least an hour into the storm. An hour. It wasn't enough that it required me to have it removed. There was a lot of snow on the ground at that time, and I could just go around it. An hour. It was there for about an hour. So that kind of makes sense. Wait, so I mean, it was there for a significant period of time. It was there for at least an hour into the storm. That's important. And as you plow, which direction is your blade facing? And are you removing the snow as you come down the street? Like you describe the routes for us. You go in on Fairview. Can you tell us how you operate, maneuver, position the plow? Plow is always ring road to the right. Plow is always ring road to the right, which would be okay. Yeah, the street where Fairview is. Ring road to the right, always. So, and do you go with the traffic and you normally, naturally, as you plow the roadway, do you go the opposite way and clean it up out of the middle? Normally, I will follow traffic rules. And, if we need to push back, I will go against traffic. Okay. That day, that night, did you have to push back and go against traffic at any point? Or was it a typical pattern? Typical pattern. Okay. Did you see anything out of the ordinary that day outside of the vehicle being parked there and obstructing your initial passes? Nope. No? Obviously, you have been asked about this before, so it's not a secret why I'm asking you these questions. You're such an asshole mechanic. And did you see a body on the roadway, on the side of the road? Would you call it in? If you did see a body, would you call it in? Absolutely. But that day, you didn't see anything suspicious? Nope. Does that mean that that there was definitely nobody there? Or do you think it may have been obstructed by something if you were driving by? Or what? What's your understanding of it? I saw nobody. My truck is high enough with lights that I would have seen a body. I can't answer to say if there was something obstructing me. I didn't see anything obstructing me. Okay, that's good. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Okay. Um, so you obviously are aware that there's a publication about an interview, right? Yes. Okay. Who published that interview? Do you know? How the hell would he know? Oh, I believe it's Aiton or Total Boy. Are you familiar with this platform and blogging that he does and the videos and the YouTubing that he conducts? Yes. Okay. So when was the last time you spoke to Aiton? Oh my. Monday or Tuesday. Oh, I want to say it was Monday. Monday or Tuesday? It was Monday. It was Monday. Yeah. Okay. So how did you guys communicate? He called me. He called you on your phone? Yeah, on my cell phone. Do you have your cell phone with you? Yes, I do. Can you open it up and show us the time that he called and the date? I don't have him on my phone. You don't have him on your phone? No, I don't. In your call logs, you don't have him calling you on Monday? I do not have his number on here. How come? I cycle my phone all the time. You delete your phone numbers. I delete and call any calls that come in. I keep it for a month, then I delete. All right. But Monday was not a month ago. Correct. So why do you think your phone is not on your phone? That phone number is not on your phone. I'm sure it is. It is because I deleted it and I got 3 days worth of phone calls now on my phone. Wow. He even knows how many days of phone calls. Okay, so you say every month you delete it. What's the cycle that you delete them at? Oh my God, Jesus Christ. So I try to keep my memory. It's not as blocked up. I do go through my text and delete my text. I go through my phones. I delete my phone numbers just to keep my memory. Okay? So it doesn't get blocked up. I see. So I guess what he's trying to do is he frees his memory. So if he deletes like old text messages and stuff, and then on the calls, and he's free in space. That's what I understand from this. Nah, that's good. That's good. So do you remember the phone number that he called you from? It was a 401 number. 401? Yes, 401. Okay. And did it come up with his name, or where he like the town or the number? Yeah. Nope. Okay. It did not. It did not. Did you know that his phone call was coming? I did not. No? He surprised you? Correct. And what were you doing when he called? I had just been released from work, and I had worked the night overnight. So he called you first thing in the morning? Yeah, probably around 7:30 ish. Okay. And did he introduce himself? Did he say anything? Did he identify himself? Like he said he was Aiden. Oh my god, this is hilarious. That he was Aiden. He didn't say that I'm Aiden, and then he proceeded with me, with the interview, what kind of questions was he asking you? He had asked if I had been cooperating, and I said yes, I have. He goes, who have you been interviewed by? I've been interviewed by the FBI. Oh shit, by the FBI. I have been interviewed by Karen Reed's special investigative reporters or private detectives, and those two are the ones that what wanted to see the route was the private investigators, and those two are the ones that wanted to see the route was the private investigators. So the private investigators wanted to see the route, and correct. And you drove you around? Correct. The FBI didn't drive you around? Nope. Like he said, right? Which, so how is that possible that he has a transcript of your interview, and he's actually misinterpreting who drove you around and who did what? I can't answer that, because did he tell you that the interview was recorded? No, he did not. He did not tell you it was recorded? No, he did not. Oh, so okay. So was there anybody else on the line with him? Did he like three-way call you by any chance? No, that I not that I'm aware of. He didn't make you aware of that? Oh shit. No. Okay. So how do you think he got your phone number? Or did he say how he got your phone number? He did not. Okay. So did you ever talk to him, communicated with him, visit his platforms in any way, follow him before that you may have inadvertently share your contact information with him that way in the past? No, but I do follow him. You do follow him. But no, I did not. Okay. Oh, which one is it? Okay, so there was an incident where I was in Wisconsin. Huh? Okay. And he goes, where did that go? Where did that go? Wait. Wait, there was an incident that was in Wisconsin. Oh my God, did I lose it? It's gonna take me a minute to get to. Wait, I think yeah, there was an incident that was in Wisconsin. Okay, here we go. He commented on a post that I did, which was a simple picture of a pancake, and I said holy pancakes. And at that point he contacted me through Facebook Messenger looking to answer questions, and I said at that point I'm not answering any questions regarding this matter anymore unless it's attached to a subpoena or a badge. When did that Facebook message happen? Proctor asked. March of this year. So what happened in Wisconsin? Yes. Now he's shared. I have the printouts of his blogs here. He shared those screenshots of his publication of your conversation. Are those accurate based on, as you know, of your to your knowledge? Are these accurate? I'm showing you the screenshot. It's your name from Facebook here. Is that accurate? Yes. Okay. So it's a screen grab from Brian Logren's name at the top, 13 to the left of his emoji icon profile picture with Sunday 2022. I mean, 2:22 p.m. at the top. Did he contact Aiden, aka Total Boy contacts you in March via Facebook Messenger? Correct. Did you hear from him again until Monday? Nope. What channel? What changed your mind about talking to him and answering questions in the meantime? I don't have an answer to that. Okay. Have you had a chance to review the transcript that the published about your conversation before? My supervisor sent me a screenshot of that, and right off the bat, I noticed that he states that I was in with the FBI driving the route, and that's not correct. Nor did I ever say that I was with the FBI in their car going down Fairview to show them the route I do. Okay, I said that was the private detectives that I was with. So the transcript's not accurate. Correct in that respect. Where where did you meet the FBI? First time I met with them, it was at my residence at blah blah blah. The second time that I met with them, oh wow, was actually to go through the route, and we met at 100 and Dedham Street at the John F. Kennedy parking lot. Okay, do you remember what days were these were? I don't, honestly. I know one was on a Sunday. Did they identify themselves with credentials to you? They introduced themselves as private investigators working on behalf of the defense team for Karen Reed. What about the FBI agents? The FBI agents did have their cards, badges and stuff. Perfect. Okay, so but the private investigator met with you 2 times to take you through the route. Correct. Okay, one time. One, they met me twice. Second time to do the route. Where was the meeting? I'm sorry, at my house. Oh my God. At your house, and the FBI also went to your house. Correct. Okay, all right. I'm sorry. They're getting nervous. I might have missed this and misunderstood. So the only time that you traveled the route with this defense team private investigate was with the defense team private investigators? Correct. Okay. After Aiden called you, did you call, text, communicate, or anyone about this conversation? No. Have you heard from Total Voicings? No. I mean, either Facebook Messenger, text, or phone, blah, blah. No. And just to confirm, when he called you, he didn't advise you that you could potentially be his recording conversation? Did he tell you, hey, this is being recorded? No, he did not tell me it was being recorded. When did you stop plowing that area? Finally, somebody changes the name. That 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 day, they're overlapping each other. They're talking over each other. That day, it could have been anywhere between mid afternoon. So you were plowing when like the police and the paramedics responded. Yeah, the road was officially blocked at that point. I noticed my supervisor that I could not go down any further than Carriage Lane. I notified my supervisor. That was not Trooper Proctor. That's right. That the answer to that question is not Proctor. Is Logren. He said just to keep it open until they're done. Okay. How long does the route take you to do that whole loop approximately? that night, that the average time that you would cycle from being on Fairview to do the rest of the complex and come back to Fairview. It depends. It depends on how much the subcontractor has done on the other part of the route, which are my, side streets, cul-de-sacs, and stuff like that. It depends. I mean, normally it can take 20 minutes if I do Dedham Street, Cedar Crest to the end. I go back on Dedham Street and then come back down on Cedar Crest and up to Fairview. It could take 20 minutes. Okay, so the way I'm understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, you with the big truck do the main thoroughway, Cedar Crest, Fairview, and Spring Lane, and then the subcontractors do the small side streets and the cul-de-sacs. Is that accurate, or am I wrong? Yes, that is somewhat accurate. I'm responsible for 8 or 9, 10 streets. So if I get done with those two main roads, Cedar Crest, Spring Lane, and Fairview, I'll bounce off and I'll take care of Kings Road, which is a big street, and I'll take care of Hunter Lane, which is off of Cranks Road. And as I am doing Spring Lane, I'll go all the way down to the very end of Spring Lane, depending on when the last time the co-subcontractor has hit Fall Lane, Snowflake, I'll hit those again. So during this specific night, when the snow is coming down so hard and so heavy at such rapid pace, what would you be doing this for many years? How many years have you been doing this? 18 years, the same route. Not the same route, but plowing for 18 years, correct. How many years on this route? Well, this year have not been my first year I did it, would have not been the first year I did it. We didn't do any plowing, but this year we didn't do any plowing, but this year I was giving a new route. Up until then, it was probably 3 to 4 years. So in 4 years that you did the section in question, including Fairview and Cedar Crest, correct. What would be the longest turnaround time for you to come back to Fairview? Why is he asking that? Wait. So first he wanted to know, son of a bitches. Okay, wait. What would be the longest turnaround time for you to come back? They're working on gaining time. Jesus. It could be an hour, could be an hour, could be an hour, could be an hour. Everybody, could be an hour. So at that point during the night, did you see a body on the side of the road? No. At any point of the night, with your lights illuminated, you were sitting up above. Did you see a body appear on the side of the road? No. Did you see footprints? We already asked these questions. At any point during the night, coming to and from the house, the driveway, other parts of the streets, any property, any tire tracks, anything that could have pulled alongside where the body was found? Nope. At any point of the night, I know I'm repeating myself, but it's important, okay? Because you have a great memory and you're telling us in a specific detail what you remember. At any part of the night, did you see anybody bringing a body out there, placing it on top of the snow, or digging it up the snow and covering the body with the snow and disturbing the snow around the body? Nope. Did you not observe or remember seeing any of that? Nope. Any blood trails of a body being dragged? I know you mentioned that there was no car tracks pulling up there. You were plowing after the edge had left, right? Correct. Did you see any tire tracks? Correct. So, wait. Any blood trails of body being dragged? I know you mentioned there was no car tracks pulling up where you were plowing after the edge had left, right? Correct. So you didn't see any tire tracks? Correct. He did not see any tire tracks. So you didn't see any tire tracks. You didn't see blood trails being dragged, a body being dragged there. Correct. And you did not didn't hit the body, right? If you hit the body, you would correct. Would you have, I would have known. You would have notified, I would have known about it. And B, I would have known. I would have been required to stop, make a phone call to the supervisor, and then the necessary phone calls to police and fire. That's protocol for the town. So at any point during the night, did you hit anything at all? Mailbox, car, anything at all? I hit a basketball net with a portable on the side of the road. It actually hit my the arm of my tarp that is on the top of my truck. So not the plow, not the plow. Okay. So you clipped something up above, correct? Um, the net actually clips like above your truck, correct? And it was protruding into the roadways as you were plowing, correct? Your plow didn't hit it, nope. It made contact. It would make contact with your vehicle, correct? And did you notice anyone injured that night due to that clipping? Nope, nope. Did you notify anybody? Yep. Okay, you did. I notified my supervisor. And what was the result of that incident? The net was turned from facing the street to facing the yard, so I turned it 90 degrees. Do you recall what street that was on? It was on Tippecart Road. Hmm. And off of that street is that's off of Cedar Crest. Tippecart Road is off of Cedar Crest. And off of Kings Road. Okay. Tippecart Road is Half a Moon. It goes through Cedar Crest and it comes off of Kings Road. Okay. Did you notice any other vehicles in Fairview parked on the side of the road other than the Ford Edge? No. What color was the Ford Edge? I can't tell you. I'm colorblind. Blinded. Okay. Was it a light color or a dark color? You just if I were to say it was tan color, so that means so he's colorblind. So to colorblind people, I guess is let's look it up. Okay, so wait. I gotta mark it and we're gonna wait. And we're gonna open up here. I'm sorry guys, but I need to do this. So how do no for colorblind people, what would be the correct translation when they see tan? Okay, so do envision the fish see amount of grain counts, blah 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 blah. Okay, so 10 anomaly of the M cone. So wait, yellow as green. They tend to be yellow or green, tend to be red, yellow, orange. Okay, can somebody tell me what if they see something tan? I'm reading. They see it as tan. Which color is it? Let's ask it differently. So what color does a colorblind person see? Wow, a complete color blindness. All colors appears in shades of tan or gray. Wow. Oh my God. I don't know. Thank you, Lord. Can you be colorblind? Why do I see why do I see pink as gray? Huh. So there's different types of color blindness, I guess. And they also see numbers different, I guess. This is interesting. I'm gonna have to um, spend some time on this a little later. But so you are colorblind. So I am. All right. I appreciate you revealing that information with us. It is very forthcoming, and it shows how honest you're being with us. Well, that was nice, mechanic. I also share that information with the FBI. I shared the same information with the private investigator. Okay, thank you. Anything else that you think you're missing about the night in question? How well illuminated it was, how heavy in your experience the snow is coming down, how structured your view was as a result of the snow. If you can maybe share your recollection of that. The snow was heavy. It was not blinding, it was not a whiteout conditions, but it was coming down very heavy, very fast. Okay. What about the street light illumination? Any of the neighborhood lose power at that time? So there was no street lights. Are there any street lights if you recall on that street? I want to say there's one that I know of, and that is at the end of the property of 34 Fairview, and is there's just seems to be like it's hard to describe it, other than to me it looks like a little wooded area that has a concrete pole with a light on it. Okay. All right. Should we I don't have any further questions unless Sergeant does. That's what Proctor said. Proctor was ready to jet out and smoke. There's some unsubstantial rumors that we want to get to the bottom of everything. There's unsubstantial rumors that we want to get to the bottom of everything. There's how many times did he say the same thing? That we have learned that somebody recorded you? What? Having this conversation, or somebody prior to having Aiden call you record the conversation with you, asking you these questions that Aiden asked. Do you know if anything about that? I have no idea. No idea. Okay. So has anybody else other than the FBI and the private investigators asked you the same questions or very similar questions that Aiden was asking you? Nope. The transcript of what you say, you saw this transcript, the transcript which Aiden published. Are those questions, to the best of your knowledge, those are the questions he asked in the same order chronologically in time that he asked you, or are those transposed in time? Do you want to reference it? Do you want to take a look? So prior to Monday, when Aiden called me, there was no, you spoke to no one Monday. Anybody that may have asked you familiar questions? Now, you can leave off through the next several pages. That's the part 93 of Aiden, also known as Total Boys blog. Okay. Well, these are the questions he asked me, but I'm finding discrepancies already. Yeah. Can you point out the discrepancies? Yes. No. They say as long as the police have ordered testimony. Did you say I couldn't speak to the police? No. No one has ever told me I couldn't speak to the police. Oh my god, I gotta take this. Hold on. And put me on mute first. Okay, so no, as long as the police have ordered the testimony, Did they say you couldn't speak to the police? No one has ever told me I couldn't speak to the police. I told him that I am not talking to anyone unless it's attached to a badge or a subpoena. Did the private investigator present a badge or a subpoena? No, no. They introduced themselves as private investigators for the defense team. Okay. Oh, to me, that was sufficient for me to warrant to go with them and to cooperate. Oh, okay. He's asking questions regarding a memo referring to Total Boy and questions asked. And we were instructed that we can give our name out. He's got that wrong. It's completely wrong. Wait. Oh, this is a setup for Total Boy. He's asking questions regarding a memo referring to for Total Boy and questions asked. And we were instructed that we can give our name out. He's got that wrong. It's completely wrong. In what respect is that wrong? We were told, we who, that we could speak. We were not to answer the questions. So if he says he asked a question, our response was to be no comment. So there's multiple discrepancies in what he has written. And he didn't say anything, or is it redacted? What actually happened and what you answered when he asked those questions? Correct. Okay, so is there anything you shared with the private investigators that you think we should know about? You're praying based on the conversation with them that is important to this investigation and getting to the bottom of the truth. I have stated all along for whatever reason, the only thing out of the ordinary that I saw the entire night was the fourth edge. Okay. So the only thing out of the ordinary that night, oh my God, that you saw was the fourth edge. That's what he said. You didn't see, even after the police arrived, had not seen the body. You said you were already on Fairview when you saw the police at the scene, correct? But you still had not seen the body, correct? Did you ever see the body out there even while the police was on the scene? No. How far away were you from the body when it was found, and where you parked looking towards the scene? How far away were you? Jesus Christ. They originally stopped. I was in Cedar Crest trying to turn left to Fairview. I was not able to. I saw him on camera. I saw that. Okay, and what time of the day was that? Early morning? That was like at 6:08 when they showed up. 6:08, 6:11. I couldn't tell you honestly that time. It was daylight outside, so, or was it still dark? It was still dark. So it was before sunrise, before dawn. That's what it means. Correct. But from that, your vantage point, did you see the body? Correct. You didn't see the body. Correct. Did you ever see a vehicle on that street driving? Did you encounter any traveling vehicles on that street that morning? There were several. Wait. There were several. Throughout the entire storm. So several vehicles you saw on Fairview? Correct. Did the vehicles stop? I need a pen. I need a working hand. Ow! I need to write this down. He's probably going to say, is that Fairview? Correct. Did you see any vehicles stop at the home while you were plowing? No, not to my knowledge. When I saw them, I was going the opposite direction. So I would say no. So just so I have it correct, you saw vehicles traveling on Fairview, but they were not going the opposite direction. So you have no knowledge of them stopping in front of the Fairview, 34 Fairview address. Correct. Do you recall what type of vehicles? Come on, Lucky. You gotta recall the type of vehicles. I was like praying here, man. Okay. No, I do not. Okay. So when you stopped and were not able to take a left on Fairview and Cedar Crest that morning on the 29th of September. What? Buchanan is asking, okay, so when you stopped and were not able to take a left onto Fairview on Cedar Crest that early morning of the 29th of September, What were the conditions at that point? I don't know what the conditions were on the 29th of September. Snowing very heavy, very heavily. Would you say that the snow became very bueno? I would say around 4:35. Yes. That's so when you observe the fore edge, it was accumulating snow on top of it. Was it covered? No, it was not. It was not. It was not. It had maybe been an inch or two at the time, if that. So the last time you saw the fore edge, had it accumulated any snow on top of it? No. Did you see the fore edge when to after it left front of? No, purview? No. Did you see it in the driveway, in the neighbor's driveway, in the did you see, didn't see any trucks were in the direction it traveled? No, I did not. Okay. So and the fore edge, was the fore edge one of the vehicles traveling to the best of your knowledge? Nope. Okay, Trooper Proctor. Yeah, I'm good. Of course you are. Run out of there before he tells you something you don't want to hear. All right, Mr. Loglorin, thank you very much for your time. It's now 12:25 on the dot, and we're going to conclude this interview. It's 12:30. Trooper Proctor, along with jury mechanic, Norfolk County District Attorney, blah, 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 Brian Logran, Loughran. Brian, before walking out, do you remember something that you want to volunteer or certain information to further support additional discrepancies with accounts that have been described and documented and produced on Total Voice? And oh my God, anything stated with us, concluding leaving the office? And Lucky says, it states in the transcripts that I was presented with GPS information from the FBI. That's utterly false. I was never giving any information or documentation from the FBI other than, and it doesn't say. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. And you additionally said that there were other discrepancies during the interview about your practices and plowing the roadways. Can you go into detail discussing those and how you learned about those? And I was asked by the private investigator from the defense team for Karen Reed that I said that I ring road to the left. I can't ring road to the left. I'm in the middle of the road. I would bury the other side of the road. Again, it's always ring road to the right. So when you discuss ring now, can you go into detail, like tell us about, we're not in your business. So what does ring rowing mean in your profession? So when you're plowing and the snow comes off your plow, it leaves a row of snow and it's called a ring row. So it's continuous row of snow. And if you put it in the left, it is adding an additional amount of snow on the ground that is there, plus what's coming off my plow. So ring rowing to the left, which side of the blade you're moving forward is called ahead. The right hand side, the ring rowing to the left, to the right, which part of the blade is ahead? The left side of the blade. Okay, so thank you for that explanation, and you presented with, and that was your watch. Okay, I apologize. No worries, that's fine. Okay, so it's all good. So you said they presented you with a statement, and you said that you can walk us through how the whole thing transpired. Just to clarify, they being the defense team's private investigator. So we initially had an interview at my first interview with the defense team's private investigator. Did they audio record the interview like we're recording it today? No. Okay. So it was just basically that they asked you, you responded, and they presented you with fact. You responded verifying or denying, correct. And that they presented you with a statement that you claimed you made, correct. And that statement. They stated that I started the route on Fairview with my plow, ring rowing to the left hand side. And I said, that's incorrect. I always ring row to the right to prevent additional snow from my. Oh, he always ring rows to the right. So if it's This is important because, okay, so it doesn't explain the amount of snow. That's what they were getting to. Ring road to the right to prevent additional snow from my plow going on top of whatever snow is on the ground, making the left side of the road unpassable. Okay, so that's incorrect statement. And you never did that. No. The night of the 29th? No. And at the time of the 29th, was the truck you were operating equipped with GPS location information to track you? All town vehicles are GPS. I have been told, which is normally not something I would know, but I have been told that the GPS at the time of the snow were down. And they were down at the repeater, not at the trucks. Oh, I see. So the system had a problem. Your individual truck did not have an issue. And you learned this the night off, and or did you learn that the GPS had been down for a while? I learned that the GPS was down about 2 weeks ago and had no idea the GPS was down. Huh. So 2 weeks ago from the time that they did this interview. They messed up the GPS. Okay. Okay, is there anything else that you're remembering that you don't think would be important to share and clarifies with us today? Now, all right, well, thank you. Thank you. And this concludes the follow-up questions with Logornera. So let me see the date. 2 weeks from, it was on the 2023, if I'm not mistaken. I gotta save this because, well, that was long. It was August 21, 2023. So 2 weeks prior, still in 2023, that's when he learned that the GPS was messed up on the trucks. This ring rowing situation is actually relevant because right in front, remember the mounds of snow? They could have attributed that to, I attributed it to Higgins. I thought that Higgins plowed before he left, not when he came, and that, he dumped all the snow right there, and it was the perfect place to, do whatever. But if he was ring rowing to the right, he would leave. What was it that he said? He would leave the snow to the left, making the left side of the road unpassable. So let me see. They stated, I gotta mark that. Hold on. Oh my God. Come on. I can't. I don't know why. They stated that I started the route in Fairview with my plow ring rowing to the left hand side, and I said that was incorrect. I always ring row to the right to prevent additional snow from my plow on top of whatever snow is on the ground, making the left side of the road unpassable. That's pretty interesting. I wanted to highlight that, but okay, I'll do it later. Let's go to here for a minute and get out of there and save changes. I don't know if you guys saw this, but I'm going to show you. Because, and I'm not sure whether you came in. We were talking about this earlier on the earlier live this morning. And yeah, this is my second one, by the way. I'm not sure who's here. I haven't seen. But these are text messages between John O'Keefe. It says Kevin Albert and John O'Keefe. I seriously doubt this, but I'm not sure. I can't see who is the other person in this communication. But I went through this earlier today. Oh, I have messages. Hold on. Let me see if I see. How do I? Well, hello. Finally, check your X. Check your DM. I sent you a message today. But these are between Kevin Albert and John O'Keefe. And they're talking about, I don't know if you guys saw, but they're posting like a video of this guy who is apparently dealing drugs in front of John's house. But he's asking, "Hey, bud, you working now?" And somebody says negative. You know, the guy that lives in Board Lane across from me on Meadows. Brick is dealing in front of my house. Is he gone? Yeah. Car pulls up in front of my house and he walks over. So John O'Keefe is the one on the pink and whoever else is on this side. Any chance you get a plate? First I saw it, but kids said it happened too often. And they're naming him George Williamson. I think it was whatever white SUV. And he has a brother. He's an idiot, okay? And I'm back in tomorrow. I'll make some passes. I don't know what that means. Thanks, man. That's John. Thanks, man. Good eye on the plate. Sounds like it was right. It was right. Female out of Revere. Born in 74, probably son driving. That's her. He was in the passenger seat. Okay. And then Roger. And maybe her daughter. And then he's sending a picture, but I don't understand what this is. I'm more concerned about this brick dealing over here. Roger that. I just intercepted the largest drug transaction. I think I put the fear of God into the poor kid. What? Told him this is no longer his spot. Looked about 1920. Ha 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 ha. Was it the same car? Different car. 3 young white girls. I saw them parked and him coming up to this driveway. So I stopped him before he got to the car. He's a little douchebag. What's his name? George Williamson. Thanks. So there's another brother. I'm not sure if he's older or younger, but George is the idiot. Yeah, he looked like a dope. Straight out of Deliverance. And yep, that's him. Well, on behalf of the Canton Police Department, thank you for taking care of that. Oh, wow, what a jokester. Ha 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 ha. He's just going to set up Canterbury now. That's the guy. I've seen that picture on X. They're posting it everywhere, and there's a video of him too. He's getting a beating soon. I'm working. He's on probation. I may call his PO. I'm at work. What day is this? Jesus, I need to. So this is May 31st, 2021. I may call his PO. I'm at work. I got on his face and said, "No more deals in front of my house." He seemed scared enough to obey. Guess not. So why wouldn't he arrest him? He's more concerned about the kids, Patrick and Kaylee. Florida plate. That kid is ballsy. He saw me and started to walk over, so I went in. Then he proceeded to sit in the back seat for 10 minutes. They just left. Me on the door, "What's up?" And he saw me on the door and yelled, "What's up?" and started to walk over. This is what she sent me. If you talk to him, tell him that I see him. What a maggot. Wrong plate. Nothing came back to it. I just saw that myself. Trooper ran same plates 2 weeks ago. Okay, maybe my desk guy got it wrong. I'll run it myself. I will set it up on him tomorrow. I'm working days. Hold off on calling probation. I like to jam him up. No, he ran it right. Not coming back to anything, just that it was run 316. I was able to take a deep breath, so I'll hold off. Still working? I am. Got a guy out front. He there? Be right there. Buyer? Probably. Yes. I mean, what's PU? I mean, PU. Volatile? Sorry. Yep. So this is Jones' house, right? On this side of the road. The house in front of him on that lawn, that's where they found Craig Casey. Dead on the snow. Christmas Eve of 2024. I'm sorry, 2018. December 24th, 2018. Got messed up. Guys, this is George Williamson who lives on Burr Lane. He's been doing deals right in front of John O'Keefe's house on Meadows Avenue. Guys, so a Sergeant Good and a C. So, which I think it could be Ship, it could be Proctor. John confronted him 2 weeks ago and showed him his badge and gun. Apparently, he doesn't care. Oh, his car has Florida plates, FYI. He's too drunk. He's too drugged out to care. I'll call you guys if he comes back to that location. Roger, says Chip. Pretty brazen. Sean Good asks, who's John O'Keefe? BPD guy. Roger. Adopted the four Bush kids and when mom and dad died 6 months apart. So, who's talking? Adopted the four Bush kids. Great guy. He should. That's kid's a goof. Great guy. He made a tear his head off. He may tear his head off. So I guess John was a little rough around the edges, huh? He should. That's kid's a goof. Bunch of open stuff. So that's the other. I read that earlier. And let me bring this one here. And the next one says MSP report redacted. So okay, and this is Lucky Logran. We already read that one. And let's see. And we already read that one. So it's duplicated on redacted. So they have the videos too of the audios of the interview from Lucky Logran, and that's car related, not interested. I wanted to bring you guys text messages between Brian Albert, oh shit, Kevin Albert. Let's bring that one up. Oh shoot, I'm looking at it for the first time with you guys too, so okay, here we go. John O'Keefe, maybe I should have a drink. Something, right? Lemonade. Hey bud, hope things are well with you. Who deals with the sex offenders in, oh my god. Helena Rafferty, your deputy. Thanks, Guy. Guy on Lawrence Street have been expired for 5 years. Shit. What's the name? Don't have it in front of me, but I think his last name is Beal. You have a CGIS in front of you? Joseph Beal. The information that I got is that he is not in town anymore. You're looking at our registry? The information that I got, yeah, okay. Thanks. I'll text Helena and ask her. Appreciate it. Helena thought he lived in Stoughton, but his RMB says Hull. She's almost certain he doesn't live in Canton. That's good. Greg Long Street too. Oh shit. Someone needs to violate that prick. Thanks, Kev. Oh my god. That's right. Greg lives in Lawrence. His Beal brother is a retired Canton 5. Wait. His Beal brother is a retired Canton fire captain. Did you have info that he's still... Wait. I need to... Let's see. I need to figure out who that is. That's right. Lawrence Beal brother is retired Canton captain. Did you have info that he still lives in Canton? He's still registered there, expired in 2014. He never registered in Hull. Do you know anyone from Hull? And he goes, not normally, since he's still showing Canton. She could violate him. Just glad he's not there anymore. You working? Oh shit. Near Old Meadow Lane. My cleaning lady girls got into an accident. No injuries, but nervous with their lack of English. Told them I had just a guy. My cleaning ladies girls got into an no injuries, but nervous with their lack of English. Told them I had just a guy. Hey, sorry, I was in grand jury. Did they file an accident report? Let me know. Who was in grand jury on November 15th, 2018? I guess whoever sent that message. I think they're all set. No license. Totaled the car. She just panicked and thought I worked in Canton. Thanks anyways. That accident on Pleasant turned into a fatal. Oh, that's ah, oh, that's the Greg Casey accident. Look at the date. Do you see now why we have to like keep track of every single thing? Because if we didn't, this wouldn't make sense to any of us, right? So, John O'Keefe, I just want to leave, is talking to what seems to be Kevin Albert, and he's asking about December 24th, 2018 Craig Casey accident. Oh my God. I just wanna leave it. I just wanna put that message there so I still see it. He's asking about the Craig Casey accident. Yes, were you the caller? Let me see. No, right outside my house. Went out there after. Where was the driver? On front of the lawn of 676. Where are you? And he goes, One Meadows. Roger, you out there? Just leaving, going to look at car at tow yard. So Kevin was there too. Kevin responded to that accident. Okay. How the hell didn't we see him? How the hell? Shit. Hey, I was half asleep. You had 3 guys there looking. Great question. 30 years old. He was 30 years old. You had 3 guys there looking. So if Canton PD had 3 guys there looking, how did they not see him? Hey bud, question for you. Do you know who handles Westwood juvenile cases? Shit. Was sure if they have a guy assigned there, or does the arresting officer show up at arraignment? Usually a Westwood guy will try to get his name. Thanks. I just got his contact information forwarded to me. Do you want it? Well, that's what he asked. I also have a name of a PO who covers Westwood. Yes, I was looking to reach out to whoever covers juveniles over there. Court is Thursday, I guess. Who is it? Brad Pindle. Okay, let me write that down. McDonough. Kate, this is the second McDonough. First it was Kim McDonough, Kelly. Now it's Kate McDonough. Kate McDonough. Same spelling as John's. And then Brad Pindle. Pindle, that's supposed to be Westwood. Westwood. Yes, Thursday is today. Who is Kate? She down the court? Yes, she works as a juvenile PO at the court and she covers Westwood. Okay. My body is stiff. Oh, Jesus Christ. Hold on. Steve Flavin. Steve Flavin. Great kid. If you need anything, let me know. Appreciate it. Thanks, Kev. So these two are going back and forth. This is Kevin and John trying to keep it from going on his record. Unless, right? Good luck. Thanks. Your voice. What happened? Some newbie grabbed Williamson. Oh shit. New charges? Sorry, I was trying to figure out what you were talking about. You were down in your neighborhood last night for Williamson. No, sorry, got stopped on Pleasant Street. Probably shouldn't have been driving. Ha 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 ha, gotcha. How did you make out? Let me go. Karen tells me my dumbass took a while to pull over. What? Let me go. Karen tells me my dumbass took a while to pull over. So he was who pulled him over? You work in this missing kids case? The juvenile guys are doing it, but I'm involved. Said she saw. Said she saw. What do you mean said she saw? Hold on. Let's see if it stops and Karen. Huh? Karen said she saw. That's a Karen right there. That's a Karen said she saw. Doesn't stop anywhere else. So is it Kai? Hold on. Nope. It was Karen. Oh my god. I'm getting good with this damn left hand. Hold on. It took me back up. Move. Okay. Down. So get out there. Hold on. And then appreciate it. Good luck. And your voice, some new charges. No, sorry, I got stopped on Pleasant Red. Karen said she saw. So you work in this missing kids case? The juvenile guys are, but I'm doing it, but I'm involved. Said she saw them in in what? Dietrich? Which this is a different Dietrich yard around 2:30. Who are the Dietrich? Hold on. The Dietriches. Ow! They were both on her bus F. Okay, where does the Dietrich? Where does next to me Unpleasant? Son is friends with them. Son who? Okay, found them in Norwood. Okay, they found them in Norwood. They already Snapchatted that. Oh shit. Yeah, crazy kids don't realize how good we had it back in the 80s and 90s, definitely. Uh-huh. They found them in Norwood. That's interesting. I'm trying to get the dirt on this Greg Long. So if you guys don't know, Greg Long was the Boston police sort of like intern chief for a while. And when he retired, him and Brian Albert are very good friends. When he retired, he moved to Canton. And this, hold on, here we go. Greg lives on Lawrence. His Beale brother is a retired Canton captain. So we're going to take a picture of this and a little snapshot of it, and we're going to keep it because that's what we do. And I already sent in a question to see if one of my buddies tells me who the heck is this person. So there are more of these, so I'm going to see if I can stick to the on the text messages situation. Oh Oh shit. These are callings. Here, these are calling Alberts. Oh my god. Call a friend. It's like, do you want to call a friend? Do you want to eliminate? Do you want to? Do you want to? Here we go. Hold on. Okay, so here we go. And I'm going to see if I can make it bigger. There. Hold on. There we go. Because you're going to need to see. On Friday, Colin Albert text messages with Ali McCabe regarding O'Keefe's. Oh, shit. On Friday, September 1st, 2023, I contacted Colin Albert in a follow-up attempt. When? Jesus Christ. Follow-up attempt to have him turn over text messages he had captured screenshots of. Do you see how they treat these people? So get the damn phone and do another great key extraction, man. Between Ali McCabe and himself on January 29, 2022, Colin was asking her for a ride from his uncle's home on Fairview Road. Colin stated that he sent a screenshot to his father, Chris, and that he would be able to share that information with me. I contacted Chris Albert and requested that the text message screenshots of Colin and Ali's conversation were shared with me. I mean, he was already 18 years old. Why are you sugarcoating this thing? Chris sent over the screenshot of the conversation, which included timestamps. Yeah, manipulated ones, curated. And I'm attaching the document to this report. This is your mechanic. Very smart of what do you call that? Proctor, not to be the one doing this report. January 28th. We've seen this, I think. It says, you can come and get me now. They changed this. They can change this so easy. If easier. Okay, I'm driving people now. Word. Get me after. KK. Here? Okay. And that's supposed to be it, right? This is a joke. These people are a joke. A joke. Okay, so I thought it was going to be like longer, but no. It's pretty short. So that's MSP report number 73. I'm going to go ahead and delete that so I can continue to clear space for my thing, because I'm sure more is going to come up and I'm going to need to download it on the same place. So Ricky Trentano. Let me see how long this is. It's not that long, but let's see. Here we go. It says on Saturday, September 2nd. Why did they wait this long to do this? Approximately at 1:40 p.m., Trooper DeChico and I conducted an interview of Richard Tentano, DOB, blah, 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 at his home located at blah, blah, blah. Richard stated that on the night of January 28th, 2022, he was driving a 2018 Ford F-150 with his friend Ryan Nagel in the passenger seat and girlfriend Heather Maxson in the backseat. A little after midnight on January 29th, 2022, Richard remembered going to a house in Canton to pick up Ryan's sister, Julie. Richard stated that he did not remember the drive there, but upon their arrival at the home, a dark in color SUV was parked in front of the home facing towards Chapman Street. At this time, Richard told us he didn't remember much about the SUV. Why would he remember? He didn't. Okay, I see. But that snow was falling at the time. Julie came from inside the house and was walking to them at the passenger side window for a maximum of 2 minutes. Makes sense? According to Richard, Julie told the three of them that she did not need a ride anymore. And Richard pulled away towards Chapman Street. Richard told us he can't remember seeing the SUV move or anybody else outside the vehicle or the home other than Julie. Richard was not able to recollect anything further. So you're a 0 to the left. That's what that means. But at least he was truthful. So we appreciate his participation, and you win a prize. We don't know what it is yet. So we're going to close that one. And then that's number 74. Remind me to delete that one. 74 needs to be deleted. So this is the interview with, oh, this is a little longer. I like it. They redacted where Ali says, and you're. Really? Wait, did I miss it? They redacted where Ali says, Greg Long. Yes, I'm waiting for somebody to tell me, to get back to me on that. About the Beal person. I know who Greg Long is. I don't understand the Beal reference. Yeah, I didn't catch that. I'll try to go back and look at it. And let's see. Maybe I shouldn't delete anything right away. Maybe I should wait a little. Let's bring this one up. This is the interview between Heather Maxon and MSB. Tully. It says that it's actually Christopher Moore. Who the hell is Christopher Moore? But okay. On Friday, September 1st, all of these interviews apparently happened on the same day. At 5:50, I Trooper Christopher Moore, along with Trooper Jeff Kutkowski, met with Heather Maxon, DOB, blah, 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 cell phone, blah, 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 regarding the homicide of John O'Keefe. Throughout this investigation, investigators learned that Heather traveled to 34 Fairview Road, Canton, with her boyfriend at the time, Ryan Nagel. So by September 2023, she was no longer Ryan Nagel's girlfriend and his friend, Richard Ricky D'Antano. So Ryan's sister, Juliana Nagel, was inside 34 Fairview Road, a birthday party for resident Brian Albert Jr., and had asked Ryan for a ride home. Heather stated that Ryan, and Ricky were out bar hopping and were at C.F. McCarthy's bar when Ryan was asked to come pick Julie up. So let me put it this way. That doesn't make any sense. I'm going to stop right there. Excuse me. If they were at C.F. McCarthy's, which is right across the street from the waterfall, why would they be following sort of John and Karen's route? Because the shortest way to get there, even if I don't care who was driving, right? Ryan Nagel was there. So Ryan Nagel knew how to get there. And because Ryan knows where Brian Albert lives, and Colin Albert and Chris Albert, all of them, why would he take the longer route and not take Washington Street, left on Sherman, and then, do the little thing and end up at 34 Fairview? Why? So that doesn't make any sense. I mean, I'm not saying that Heather Maxon is lying here. I'm saying that if they were at C.F. McCarthy's when Julie called, then it doesn't explain why they took the longer route. That's what I'm saying. Heather stated that Ricky was driving Ryan's Ford. Wait. What? Shit. Wait. Guys, did you see this? Are you looking at this? Heather stated that Ricky was driving Ryan's Ford F-150 truck. So whose truck is this? So it's Ryan's Ford F-150. And Heather is saying that Ricky was driving Ryan's Ford F-150? Wait. So the truck belongs to Ryan. PC is going to kill me because I told her Ryan was driving that truck, but I didn't know the truck actually belonged to Ryan. I thought the truck was Ricky's. So now Heather is saying, and I trust Heather, Heather is saying that Ricky was driving Ryan's Ford F-150. So the Ford F-150 actually belongs to, it was Ryan driving it. Why would Ricky be? Oh, because Ryan has a former DUI in Florida. So, oh, there's another piece that has just been completed. So I don't know if you guys know, and I'm gonna say it anyways. Ryan Nagel has a former drinking while driving charge situation. There's a mugshot of him out there in the World Wide Web, www. Look it up, and there's a mug shot of him because he has a prior um, driving under the influence situation, and this explains why they put Ricky Dantano as if he was the driver on Ryan's Ford F-150. Ryan could not admit that he was driving the Ford F-150 because he was drinking. So he couldn't have another drink and driving situation, even though he's hanging out with the mob clan, because Ryan was in the front passenger seat and Heather was behind. Right, but she was favoring the rear middle seat. Heather stated that remember turning left onto Fairview from Cedar Crest, but Ricky yielded. Ricky, no. If he's turning left, you're not yielding anybody. The person who's turning right has the right of way. So Ricky yielded to the Lexus across from them, which took a right. Okay, onto Fairview, and also parked out front of 34th Fairview. Heather stated that she distinctly remembered seeing the female driving and a male front passenger of the car, and she remembered this because Ryan had a newer truck with very bright headlights. She stated that they parked a few feet behind the Lexus and a little past the driveway. When they arrived, Julie Nagel came out of the car and attempted to get the three of them into the house to stay and party. I doubt it. Sorry, Heather, but I'm not buying it. Heather stated that she did not want to go into the party because she already had a boss and also didn't know anyone at the house. Heather stated that the whole interaction with Julie was approximately 5 minutes long, and then they left. So that means that you got there by 12:21, and by 12:25 or so, you were already gone. They drove to Ricky's house and then to Ryan's. They drove to Ricky's house. I guess Ryan drove himself to Ricky's house, and then Ryan or you ended up driving to Ryan's. This doesn't make any sense. Heather said that during that time she did not see anybody get out of the Lexus, which they were parked only a few feet behind. Heather said that when they left, they continued straight on Fairview, and although she didn't look into the car, she did notice the brake lights were illuminated, like someone's foot was on the brake and the car was running. Oh, yeah? It's people. And illuminated for someone's foot. Car was running. When asked about what time they arrived, Heather stated 12:30 a.m., but that was a guess. I asked if she recalled the weather conditions and stated that it was snowing and that there was dusting on the ground. Heather was asked again if she saw anyone else outside the house, and she said the only person that she saw outside the house was Julie Nagel. So he's an idiot. But this is worth keeping because the truck belonged to Ryan. How little did I know? I had a feeling that Ryan was driving, but I didn't know the truck actually belonged to him. That's news to me. So that's report 75. I gotta write that down. And this one is authorization exhaustive testing. It's a blank form. Doesn't say anything. Sample from areas around tears. Let's see. It doesn't say anything though. Sample from areas around tears 1 through 9 on exterior right sleeve of gray long sleeve shirt. J.O. There's nothing. Nobody signed anything. That's what it is. I mean, it's almost like nobody did anything with it. So, or they started it and then they quit. It's unbelievable. Let's see what the other one is. So, we are out of that one, and let me show you. Oh, now. Oh, hold on. 25. Well, hello. Good. Quick question. And do you know who Bill is related to Greg Long by any chance? Bill. I have no idea. I'm gonna see if I can send you a text message so you see what I see. The last FOIA dump that they did on the documents has revealed like text messages between Kevin, John, and a bunch of other stuff. Like I just opened another one, and I don't know who this one is yet. Okay, I have seen this one already, but Helena Rafferty saying Helena Rafferty is the person that is handling sex offending, whatever. And all of a sudden, this Craig guy shows up. This Beal guy related to Greg Long, but I have no idea. I don't know what the relationship is. Another, yeah, and the other. Wait. Before you tell me, yeah, the next thing is that John O'Keefe was texting with Kevin Albert and asking him about Craig Casey. Can you believe this? He was asking him, yeah, like, do you know what happened to that guy? Yeah, it's documented. I mean, and the other thing that I found out, guess who is the owner of the Ford F-150? It was Ryan Nagel. I just found a report from Heather Maxon. And, we have been thinking that Miss Sunshine, the Ford F-150 is actually Ryan Nagel's car. It's not. I thought that it was Ricky Dantano's. No. The vehicle that Lucky claimed is the Ford Edge. I'm talking about the Ford F-150 that I see everywhere that is gray in color. And I kept saying to, like when we were talking in conference calls, I kept saying, I bet that it was Ryan Nagel driving. And everybody was saying no, because Ricky Dantano testified that he was driving, remember? And now I just found a document that actually confirms Heather Maxon is saying Ricky Dantano was driving Ryan's truck. But you know why she's saying that? It's because we already found out that Ryan Nagel had an OUI in Florida, remember? So he couldn't be seen, or he couldn't have any confirmation that he was driving and drinking because he has a prior DUI. So wait. I'm getting another call. Can I call you back? I'll call you back. Okay. But I'm not taking that other call. I need to continue to do this. Sorry about that, guys, but we're working teams around here. But anyhow, wait. This is a new one. This is about. No, this is the same one it's the same date, right? September. Yeah, it's the same date. So I guess some of these documents are repeated. I'm opening up same stuff. And yep, it's the same stuff. So let me go to the other folder and see if I can find something different. This one is text messages, Albert redacted. We already saw that. Yeah, we already saw that. And repeat it too, repeat it. Okay, so I'm going back to 29th. And this one says that is Commonwealth Notice of Discovery, and it's just a Michael Morrissey signed document. So I'm going to skip out of that. Crime Lab report. And okay, let's go to this one. And after that, I'm going to show you Gretchen Boss. Hey, Mitzi, how are you? I'm going to show you Gretchen Boss notes because Karen is giving us answers in that one. So this one says trace arson and explosive unit, blah, 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 laboratory, blah, 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 Norfolk County, Trooper Michael Proctor, John O'Keefe, Karen Reed. And this is Maureen Harnett. I remember, I don't know if I'm sure you guys remember her. I will always remember her because she tried to correct something for Alessi's record, and the judge at the end said, no, if it's for his record, you're okay. You don't need to, you don't have to do anything. So the drinking glass, broken drinking glass, 34 Fairview, trace item, rear bumper, Trooper Christopher Moore. Oh yeah, here he is. There you go. You were right on target on that one. And trace item, glass, clear, pieces of glass, recovered, 34 Fairview, drinking glass, 34 Fairview, consider one clear, glass cup with broken irregular edges. But that turned out that they could not match it. That's what they said, that this item was examined microscopically, and this item consisted of 5 pieces, clear, apparent, blah, blah, blah. And I want to get to the conclusion. Okay. So the clear, apparent glass cup from item 2 to 3 was examined microscopically and was found to have a physical match with 6 of the pieces of clear, apparent glass, A, B, C, D, F, and K, from items 7 to 12, and no physical match was found for, oh my God, for the clear apparent. So they just picked up whatever and they said, this is the glass. And they were one time together as glass from pieces square. Okay, so from A, B, C, D, F, and K, from items 7 to 12, were at one time together as one unit. So they found all of these pieces, right? There's 7 to 12 pieces. A, B, C, D, E is another group, F is on the first group, K2, and then I and L, and E, I, and L do not belong. Oh my God. This just pisses me off because it's just more. What this proves is somebody was planting crap. That's what that proves. So it's like, if we reverse engineer this and try to get Karen off the hook, let's use the exact crap that they used to sort of like put this case together against her to absolve her. But I know that's what the defense team tried to do, and it took 2 trials, and I have no idea how much money. Oh, and even in August, we were still paying $49.5 million for it. So, let's cover the sponsoring. Lying on the snow in the front yard. This is November 4th. Oh my God, November 4th. Evidence from. Okay, so let's read this one real quick. So on November 4th, 2023, Michael Proctor is sending a memo to Tully. On January 29th, 2022, at approximately 6:04 a.m., the Canton Police Department received a 911 call for a male party, John O'Keefe, whom was discovered unresponsive outside 34 Fairview Road. O'Keefe was discovered lying on the snow on the front yard. To the left side of the property, snow began to fall shortly after midnight on January 29th and continued snowing remaining on the early morning, blah, blah, blah. Okay, item 2. On January 29th, 2022, members of the Massachusetts CERT team and detectives from the Norfolk District Attorney's Office to include detective. So if he's writing this to include Detective Tully and Trooper DeChico, Dune, Keith Sullivan, search the area of 34. So why is he sending? He's doing a report, which he's also including Tully in that report. So why is he sending that to Tully? At 5:45 p.m., investigators located a piece of red plastic consistent with the tail light from Karen Reed's Lexus SUV. The piece was located on the roadway to the left side of the property left on the flagpole. On February 3rd, Sergeant Buchanan, Trooper DeChico, and myself arrived at 34 Fairview Road. Trooper Brandt from Crime Scene Services responded to document any findings with photographs. Sergeant Buchanan, Trooper DeChico, and I sifted through the melted snow. Really? How can you sift through melted snow? And located the remaining pieces of evidence. During the February 3rd search, detectives located multiple pieces of taillight, broken glass, a steering straw, and John O'Keefe's baseball hat. An increase in temperatures ranging from 34 to 63 degrees Fahrenheit, see attached. Weather government report had several days of rain and melted snow, revealing evidence over the course of 2 weeks. Right. The following is documented evidence investigator retrieved from 34 Fairview. Do you know why I could care less about this? Do you know why I pretty much don't I don't care about any of that? Because to me, the fact that Jen McCabe at 2:27 Googled how long to die in the cold, right? And the fact that looking at John's phone, I can tell that he actually collapsed, fell down, never came back to before Karen even left 34 Fairview, tells me that this was all planted. It is as simple as that. When I look at the waterfall video and I look at people that have been trying to hide other people, that we don't see people that probably participated actively in this thing, but they're hiding pieces of the video, that tells me they're hiding something. They're trying to conceal information. They're trying to conceal people. And you cannot. Chris and John were not friends. They were not friends. People are trying to make, oh, Chris is such a good guy. He makes such a good pizza. He's such a good guy. You're a chicken shit. He's not a good guy. He doesn't make great pizza. He makes mediocre pizza. His pizza is not the best. And at the end of the day, if this guy that is considered, oh, Chris is a good guy, he makes good. No, you have no idea what you're talking about. Because if you knew, you would not say that. This guy is very aggressive. This guy has a temper problem. He's not well. And he's not only not well, but he's the third child. And you know where he went to school? He went to the Severian school. Have you even tried to get some scoop or talk to people on the phone or reach out to somebody that tells you the background on this guy? Because it wasn't easy. So don't forget that this mom raised 7 kids, 6 boys and 1 girl. No. So we're going to go back to Gretchen Boss, because this is when Karen comes in and tells us what's going on. And before I do that, wait, I wanted to do this because I'm going to go to the printer and I am going to go find the report that I printed for, hold on, for, where's Jen? For Ian Whiffen, trial 1. We're going to listen to this first. And I'm going to put it, and I'm going to go find. Wait. Where did you go? There we go. Too fast. Okay.
You just mentioned Cellbrite. Is that where you work?
It is, yes.
And you're a forensic examiner.
I am.
Can you tell us a little bit about Cellbrite, where you work?
Yes, Cellbrite provides digital forensic solutions to customers globally for access and decoding of digital artifacts from devices.
Where would you find a digital system? Is that resigned to a phone, or is it all systems?
Typically, Cellbrite focuses on phones or iPads, but we do have some additional devices that we can also integrate: computers, vehicles, things like that.
So simply, what is Cellbrite?
Cellbrite is a digital intelligence company.
Do they use a certain type of software? Do they brand a certain type of software?
Yeah, we create our own software to access devices and to decode the data that we pull from devices.
That's a
So essentially, does that software help you look into the data on the phone and analyze it?
It does, yes.
What is the role of a digital forensic analyst?
Typically, the analyst would take the data that's been extracted from a device, such as a cell phone, process that in software such as a physical analyzer that Cellbrite create, and use that information to filter, to search, and to create a report for the investigator that would allow them to see what happened on the device at the time being investigated.
How long have you been involved in analyzing data, sir?
I started my career in digital forensics in 2013.
Can you take us back to the beginning of your career and tell us a little bit about how you became involved in learning about analyzing data?
Certainly. I spent 5 years as a frontline police officer in the UK during the 2000s. In 2009, immigrated to Canada and continued policing frontline officer in Calgary before joining the digital forensics team in 2013. Pursued several qualifications related to digital forensics and just continued in that role until 2019. 2020, when I left the police agency and began working for Cellbrite.
While you were working at the police agency and began your career analyzing data, were there special classes that you took?
There were. In order to be a forensic examiner in Canada, you have to take a 3-week foundational course in Ottawa, basically covering basics of digital forensics. And then from there, other courses are available that would focus on things like cell phones, would focus on how to get data from different types of devices. And then there's industry qualifications that can be sought as well, where you can focus on particular types of device or particular types of data.
Does software in this field continually change?
It does. Every time an update is released to an application or to an operating system, there's the opportunity for the foundation of that software to change. And from a forensics point of view, you have to re-understand what has changed, make sure you understand what is now happening on that device, and provide that information to the users.
As you've progressed through the field, do you continue to take classes?
I've not taken a class now since I actually joined Cellbrite and did the basic foundational courses that Cellbrite offer. But prior to that, I was doing courses across the industry.
Do you teach courses?
I do teach webinars. I don't teach any actual courses, although some of my research and some of my tools are taught to examiners in many of the industry standard qualifications which users seek.
Do you ever write papers about the subject that are published?
I do. So I have a blog where I publish my research. Sometimes some of those become papers which get peer reviewed and distributed in more academic channels.
So when one of your papers is peer reviewed, can you tell us what that means?
But essentially, other forensics examiners would read over the paper that I've written, do their own testing, compare their testing and research to what I've conducted, and make sure that what I've said is consistent with their findings. And presuming that what they find is the same as what I found, then they would agree that it's a valid document and it gets shared.
Take us now to Cellbrite. When you began working at Cellbrite, what did you do?
When I started there, I was considered the senior digital intelligence analyst. My role was to help the developers of the software understand the role of a digital forensics examiner, what an examiner needs from the tool, what an examiner wants to do with the tool, and how they want to use it. And then since then, I've progressed to the decoding product manager, where I can manage the backlog of software applications that we support, decide how we should support those applications, and how that information should look to the users.
Do you do research?
I do still do research, yes. It's not my primary function within Cellbrite, but it's something that I've continued to do throughout my career.
Have you ever done any programming?
Yes, again, I'm not an official programmer with Cellbrite, but I do program as well. And I have several tools which I've written myself for the last few years, since around 2015, tools that I wrote to do the things that the vendor tools didn't do, and to offer examiners things that the vendor tools didn't offer. And I continue to maintain those tools as a learning opportunity for myself, and also because other examiners can make use of these same features.
Mr. Whiffen, have you ever testified in courts regarding forensic examination of data?
I have, yes.
And can you share a little bit about that?
I've been qualified as an expert in Canada, Australia, the UK, in total around 20 times.
I want you to take us now to the Celebrite software. We talked a little bit about it. I don't want to go into too much detail, but can you help us explain how software works like Celebrite software?
Yes, so fundamentally, when we've got data from a device, it's a series of files, a series of databases, property lists, or all manner of different structured data. The software that we create knows where these files exist, knows how to read these files and what the data inside them means, and provides a clear view for the user to view that data. As an example, if you were to look at the SMS database on a device, all you would see is a long list of messages that don't really have an easy way to interpret or to read them. Our software takes that information, converts it into a conversational view, so that as a user, you can read the data, you can see who sent what message, what time it was sent. We can do decoding and decryption of various different types of security to give the user as much information as possible.
Is there other software available in addition to Celebrite?
There's multiple vendor supply tools and multiple tools available that are maintained by users in the community, like myself.
Does a forensic examiner, should they rely simply on the software program, or is there more to do other than the program itself?
The software program is great at finding the data and displaying the data, but I always maintain it's the role of the examiner to actually understand what that data means and provide context and validation for what that data means, making sure that the end user of the report, whether that's the investigator, a judge, or a jury, can understand what that data actually means, rather than just taking it at face value from the software.
Does the software create a report that you can look at that manages or arranges some of the data that you can see?
It does. It just creates a list of all of the results that the examiner wants to include in the report.
So the software can produce a report, but the examiner goes beyond the report and looks into the data itself?
The examiner can and should go beyond what the program provides.
I'd like to turn now to your involvement in this case. Can you share with us when you first became aware of the data in this case, how that came about?
Yes, it was actually one of the public relations managers at Celebrite who reached out to me or to my team because he'd heard about this case and about the confusion regarding a timestamp and requested if we could look into it and find out what the confusion was and how we could respond to it. At that point, I contacted the investigators to get more details.
Did you learn that a consumer had called about a question relative to a report produced by the software?
Yes, there was both the troopers who had requested information about this particular artifact and also a private forensics examiner, Richard Green.
And when Richard Green reached out to your company, what specifically was the question or issue?
He reached out to the tech support team, asking basically, there's a timestamp that doesn't make sense. I need to understand what this timestamp means.
What is a timestamp?
Essentially, it is the time which is attributed to an artifact. So it should intentionally be when something happened on that device, we would show a timestamp associated to it.
Can you tell us what an artifact is?
An artifact would be any piece of data that we pull from that device. So it could be a text message, it could be a location point, it could be a photograph.
So if I had photographs on my phone, would each photograph be considered an artifact?
It would, yes.
Would the date and time I took the photograph be considered an artifact?
I'd consider that a property of the artifact.
And if I had a phone call or a text message, those would be considered artifacts?
Yes.
When I look at my phone and I see a call log or a name, does that tell me all the information about that call?
When you look on the phone itself?
Yes.
No, there's usually a lot more information in the background of the phone that's available to the forensics examiner, which the user wouldn't necessarily see on the device.
And so when you're looking at an artifact, a phone call, a text message, whatever it may be, and you see it on a report, if you want to know more detail, where it came from, when it was developed, when it started, is that what a forensic examiner would do to look into the data to try to identify that other information?
Yes, you can see what other information is available. You can see if there's any information that's been deleted that can be recovered. And you can validate the information that's there and make sure that the timestamps are being interpreted correctly and that they mean what you think they mean.
You told us you got a call from a consumer or a forensic examiner, Richard Green, about a timestamp. What type of timestamp? For what type of artifact was this timestamp?
It was related to an internet query.
And so there was an internet query on a phone that had a timestamp, and this gentleman, Mr. Green, had a question about it.
He did. He wanted to know how accurate the timestamp was in relation to when the internet query was made.
Did you look into the question, the query that was made?
In response to Richard Green, at that time, I didn't. I wasn't aware that Richard Green had made this request until several months later, but it was an almost identical question that had been asked by the troopers here, and that's the question that I was able to look into and to answer.
And can you share with us what was the issue? What was the question that you were actually looking into?
The question was related to a timestamp of 2:27:40 a.m. And an internet query that appeared to have occurred at that time. There was no other information on the device that suggested that that internet query had occurred at that time. So we wanted to know how relevant is that timestamp to when the query happened. So I was able to take test devices, recreate test data to find out exactly what this timestamp meant, and discovered that it was actually the timestamp that the tab within the browser was brought into focus and had no relevance to when the actual web query had been made.
So after you looked into the issue and came to a determination or opinion, did you reach back out to Mr. Green?
Eventually, yes, I did. After I provided information to the troopers, I wrote a blog that covered this information because there was another examiner in Europe who had a very similar question, and I realized that this is a relatively common point of confusion. And then eventually I reached out to Richard Green, offering to speak to him about this issue and clear up any confusion, but never received a response.
So to summarize, there was an inquiry about a phone that made a Google or a internet search. And the question is, what time was that search made?
Correct.
And relative to that inquiry, there was a timestamp on some of the data that said 2:27 a.m.
Correct.
Sustained.
So at some point, did you have an opportunity to forensically examine a telephone that was attributed to a person by the name of Jennifer McCabe?
I did have the opportunity to look at the data that was extracted from that device. I never saw the device itself.
And putting that aside for a second, secondly, were you asked to look at any other phone to examine data in this case, aside from the phone attributed to Jennifer McCabe?
Yes, I was also sent the extraction of data from John O'Keefe's phone.
Did you look through the data and analyze some of the data in John O'Keefe's phone?
I did, yes.
So I want to walk through both your analysis of Jennifer McCabe's phone, but also of John O'Keefe's phone. So if we can first start with Ms. McCabe's phone.
Yes.
Did you actually receive her phone?
I didn't know. It was just a download of the extraction.
So how does that work?
The examiners here had done the extraction of the device, resulted in a large zip file, which is a container containing all of the files extracted from the phone. They uploaded it to Cellbright's secure portal, where I was able to download it and verify what the data was in the extraction.
When you received the download of the extraction for Jennifer McCabe's phone, was it a similar process for John O'Keefe's phone?
With John O'Keefe's phone, I actually received the data on a USB thumb drive through mail.
And before we begin, can you summarize briefly the issue, what you were looking for, and what the scope was as far as Jennifer McCabe's phone?
For Jennifer McCabe's phone, it was related to the internet search that occurred, or that allegedly occurred at 2:27:40.
And as part of your effort and analysis, did you put together a PowerPoint that would help educate us on how a timestamp works and what happened in this case regarding a search?
I did, yes.
And have you seen that PowerPoint recently?
I did, yes.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm handing you a binder that you take a look in. Do you know or do you recognize what's in that binder?
Yes, this is the PowerPoint presentation I created related to Jen's phone.
And with that presentation, do you have it downloaded on your computer?
I do, yes.
I'd like to introduce this as the next exhibit, please. No objection, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
You know, with the court's permission, I'd ask Mr. Whiffen to be able to use his computer to walk us through the PowerPoint and explain it to the jury. No objection, Your Honor.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Whiffen.
Okay, we begin, Your Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Whiffen, if you would walk us through and explain the PowerPoint and explain this issue to the jury, what the question was and how you resolved it.
Of course. Okay. The query revolved around a database called browserstate.db. Browserstate stores information about Safari internet browser and about the tabs that the user has either had open or has open. Fundamentally, in this presentation, I wanted to include information from iOS 14 and earlier. iOS 14 is not the version of iOS that was on Jen McCabe's phone, but iOS 14 has an easier way to understand how this database works. And then I can move on to iOS 15, which was the device, or was the version installed on Jen McCabe's phone. And hopefully by that point, it will be clearer how this information is being populated on the device.
Could you tell us what iOS means?
iOS is Apple's proprietary operating system available on iPhones.
Thank you.
Fundamentally, the browser state.db tabs table is shown, hopefully I can show this on here, in the top here. The real database has many more fields, but these are the fields which are important for demonstration to just see the row ID, the timestamp that's recorded, the URL or the web address, and the title of the page. And the example at the side there, you can see there's the browser is open, but there is no tab actually in focus at this time.
Can I take us just a little bit back so we can put this in context?
Yes.
When you are doing internet searches on your phone and you hit Safari or Google or whatever search engine you're going to use, does it create a tab?
It doesn't create a tab just by opening the application, but there may be tabs already open in the background when you start the application, and then you can tell it to create further tabs.
So if I have a phone, can I have a number of different tabs on my phone at the same time if I search for different things throughout the day?
Correct. You can have hundreds of tabs open.
Do tabs stay open forever or can you close them?
They stay open until you close them.
So if you look at your phone and you have a number of different tabs, and say, for example, I start with one tab, I'm looking for the local football score. Can I reuse that same tab for some other search, or do I have to use a new tab to start a new search?
You could use that tab for as long as you wanted, or create a new tab to do additional searches while maintaining the original tab in its current state.
And so what you're trying to demonstrate to the jury is identifying a time on one of these tabs where a particular search was made.
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained is deferred.
Could you explain this demonstration as it relates to tabs on these internet searches? What are we actually trying to learn?
So as I showed, there's a field in this table called timestamp. It's actually called last viewed timestamp. And I wanted to prove or to demonstrate what that timestamp means, how that timestamp gets populated, and how it's relevant or irrelevant to a case.
So if I have one of many tabs open on my phone, each tab will have its own timestamp?
Correct.
And the URL, that's whatever I look up, what I search on the search engine?
Objection, Your Honor.
Hold on. Is that what you said?
That's great. The URL is the address of the page that's being viewed.
So if I have a tab open and I use it continuously, 3, 4, 5, 10 times, will the timestamp change?
No, it will not.
And is that what you're explaining to us now?
Correct. That's part of the demonstration and presentation.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
So in this instance, at 10 a.m., which is shown in the top of the device there, we can see I visit firstpage.com as an example website. At that time, a row is created in the database that shows row ID 1 with the timestamp 10 a.m. when the page was opened. The URL and the title are relevant to the page that was visited, so firstpage.com. A minute later, excuse me, I now use the same tab to visit secondpage.com. What actually happens in the database at this point in time is the first record is updated with new information. So we continue to see row ID 1. We continue to see the timestamp that the tab was opened at 10 a.m. And we now see the URL and the title that are related to the secondpage.com website. So I've shown it here. The first one is red to show that's no longer a live record. It's been replaced by the new record that's underneath it in black.
Oh.
A minute later again, I can visit thirdpage.com. And at that point, the record's updated a further time. So we still see that it's row ID 1, because no new rows are being created. We're just simply updating the existing rows. So we still have row ID 1, we still have 10 a.m. as the timestamp, and we have the URL and the title that show thirdpage.com instead.
Mr. Whiffen, so in the URL column, there are 3 different searches?
I don't think Hank understands.
Yeah, this is 3 different pages that have been visited within the same tab.
And
Yes,
in the
sir.
data, it has 3 timestamps, but they're all the same.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
This database is not monitoring web navigation events. It's purely monitoring the tab events. So when the tab's brought into focus or when the tab's created is the only timestamp that's relevant here.
Thank you.
From a non-forensic point of view, if I was looking at this database in a regular database viewing tool, all I would see is the black record at the bottom. I wouldn't see the other 2 records because they've been essentially overwritten by the third record. If I was to use a forensic tool, though, then I would see all of these records because the forensic tool is designed to find the older versions of these records that have been replaced. So again, from a forensic point of view, I would see all of these records. and I would see the same timestamp and the same row ID. Now go to secondpage.com a minute later. We can see that now the in-memory variable is updated. So the timestamp still remains 10 a.m., the same as it did previously on iOS 14, but the URL and the title are updated to reflect the current web page that's being viewed. Again, nothing has been written to the browser state database. I can go to thirdpage.com. Again, we see the in-memory variables for the URL and the title are updated, but the timestamp still remains the time that this tab was brought into focus or created, not the time that the navigational event occurred. Still, nothing's been written to the browser state database. And it's not until you actually close the tab that the information gets removed from the in-memory variables and written into the database. And at that point, the information written to the database is whatever was in the in-memory variable. So right now, all we have is a single record in the database that shows the 10 a.m. timestamp. That's when the tab was opened. And we have the thirdpage.com URL and title information, which is the most recent web page visited in that tab. It wouldn't matter whether I was looking at this data using a regular database tool or a forensic database tool. The only record that I will see is this particular record. There may be multiple versions of this record, but still would only show me this timestamp and this URL information because this is the only information that was ever committed to the database. Okay. Moving on from that, there was multiple databases or multiple data sources on Jen McCabe's phone that could be used to see what actually happened on the device at this time of day that was of interest. So the analysis I did looked at the browser state database that we've just described, the history database, which is what is tracking the navigational events. So every time you visit a website and the website fully loads, it gets written to the history database to say this URL was visited at this time. And that's the information that as a user you can see when you look at the internet history of your device. It will list all of the web pages that have been visited. com.apple.mobile.safari.plist is a property list file, so essentially a list of values and information, keys and values that would describe various settings on the device typically, but it also stores information such as the last searches that were conducted using the Safari search feature. And then finally here we've got knowledgec.db, which is a massive database at the heart of iOS that stores lots of types of information. It can tell you what web page was actually on the screen at any given time. It can tell you when the backlight came on, when the backlight went off, when the device was locked or unlocked, the battery level, lots of different types of information, but useful here for the web pages that were being viewed. So using the combination of all those sources, I could see that at 2:27:29 a.m., Safari was opened from the application library on the device. At 2:27:29 a.m., when Safari opened, there was already numerous tabs open in the background. The browser would show in the foreground whatever browser tab was opened when Safari was previously minimized. In this case, we can see, looking at knowledgec.db, that the web page that was being viewed was related to Hockenmock Sports, Friday's schedule scoreboard. At around 2:27:30, that tab would have been closed. Now, we don't actually have a time that the tab was closed, that based on other activity, this timestamp can be inferred. Essentially, when this tab was closed, a record is created in the browser state database that shows the timestamp 1:59:44 a.m. That would have been the tab at the time that the tab took focus, and then the Hockenmock Sports Friday schedule scoreboard URL. At 2:27:31, there was a browser switch occurred, and the last visited timestamp that's held in memory would have taken the time that this occurred, so 2:27:31. This URL was PayPal. There was no navigational event listed in history, so this wasn't a page that was visited from a bookmark or from typing in a URL. It was whatever was currently shown in that tab when the tab was brought into focus. And we know that this exact URL was last visited at 7:40 a.m. on the 28th of January. This is evidenced in browser state and in knowledge C. Around a second later, that tab gets closed, and that record gets written to the database with a time of 2:27:31, because that's the time the tab was brought back into focus. It gets written with the URL and the title information related to PayPal. At 2:27:33, another tab is brought into focus from the background. This one related to Eastern Bank. Again, the last visited timestamp would be updated because this tab has now been brought into focus, causing the timestamp to change. We know that this particular website was visited at 8:02 on the 27th of January, and there's no new navigational events at this time. So we know it's just brought into focus and visible on screen according to knowledge C and browser state databases. That tab gets closed and it gets written to the database. This again is going to show, and I've just noticed there's a typo on here and the timestamp at the top is showing correctly. But essentially it's closed around this time, and the Eastern Bank URL is written to the browser state database with the 2:27:33 timestamp. At 2:27:35, we see that there's a YouTube video shown on screen related to It's Raining Men. This shows in knowledge C, there's no new navigational event for it, but there's also no timestamp in the browser state database at this point. This is because this page is actually, or this tab is brought back into focus a second time. And when it gets brought into focus the second time, the timestamp that's attributed to it overwrites the timestamp that would have been written at this point. Sound convoluted, but essentially, if you imagine that the in-memory timestamp here would have said 2:27:35, but then there's another tab that's brought into focus related to Hockenmock Sports at 2:27:36.
Mr. Whiffen, can I ask you a couple questions?
Yes.
This timestamp 2:27:36, does that indicate the time when this tab was actually opened?
Yes. The time that the tab was brought into focus or opened.
What does it mean brought into focus?
If you imagine you could have 5 or 6 or however many tabs in the background, you select one of those tabs to view, it makes it full screen, that would be considered in focus, and that would cause the timestamp to be updated.
So if someone had an open tab that had a timestamp, and then they put it in the background to look at a different tab, but then went back to an earlier tab and opened it, would it create a new timestamp?
It would update the timestamp.
If somebody had an open tab and they didn't put it in the background, but they used other functions or shut off the phone, and when they came back, that tab was still open, would that create a new timestamp?
As long as Safari doesn't close, then the timestamp will remain the same. So if I just minimize Safari,
I wanted to say something. I truly believe, despite of all the negative comments in regards to Harmonica Hank, that with Ian Whiffen, he was actually trying to understand. He was trying to get some sort of clarity, whether he was trying to BS him or whether he was being truthful. There's a time is coming, and this is the second trial, right? This is a direct examination by Hank Brennan of Whiffen. We sort of interrupted the first trial by Adam Lally. But you're going to hear Hank, how he gets a little bit sort of like, he changes his tone and he starts sort of like scrutinizing him to see if he's going to tell him something, or you'll see. Just let's keep watching for a minute. But I wanted to say that real quick so you guys pay attention.
if I put it into the background and start to do other things on my phone, the timestamp won't get updated. If I completely close Safari or turn the phone off, when Safari reloads, then that tab does get a new timestamp when it opens up again.
Thank you.
Yes, At 227.36, we've got Hockomock Sports, Gallery Shoots, Canton Girls, Basketball to Important Win at Mansfield, is the page that is visible on screen. Again, we know that there's no navigational event at this time, so the page is not being loaded as a result of a bookmark or typing the URL in. It's just showing what was on screen previously, and we know that this page was previously viewed at 22:55 on the 27th of January. This tab gets closed and gets written to the database as well, and we see it's written with the timestamp 227.36 when the tab was brought into focus. And then we go back to the YouTube video tab. So at this point, the timestamp that had been written there gets overwritten again with 227.38, and it shows the YouTube video is the active page that's on the screen. At around 227.39, that tab gets closed and the record is written to the database showing a timestamp of 227.38 when the tab took focus, and the YouTube video URL. Then we move to 227.40, which was the time of interest, and we see that a browser switch occurs, causing the last visited timestamp to take on the time of 227.40. This is the tab that was ultimately used to search.
What?
At this point in time, there's no navigational events recorded anywhere. All we see is that the web page that was brought into view is ozoneball.com/record is written to the database showing a timestamp of 227.38 when the tab took focus, and the YouTube video URL. Then we move to 227.40, which was the time of interest, and we see that a browser switch occurs, causing the last visited timestamp to take on the time of 227.40. This is the tab that was ultimately used to search.
Whoa, whoa. What do you mean they muted this? They who? Wait. So this is at 35:42, and I'm watching the trials channel. So hold on. They muted. Wait, give me 1 second. We're going to have to do a little bit of work here. Hold on. So, Karen Reed trial and Wiven, Boston 25 News. Hold on. So, what tie is he wearing? Do you guys remember what tie was he wearing? Okay, so it's a dark shirt. Okay, let me see if this is the same one. Yes. So Ian Weaving, and the total length of this video is 2 hours and 33 minutes. Let me see this one. So it's this one. We're going to switch to this.
You told us you got a call from a consumer or a forensic examiner, Richard Green, about a timestamp.
35:42.
What type of timestamp? For what type of artifact was this timestamp?
It was related to an internet query.
Okay.
Both Gallery Shoots, Canton Girls, Basketball to Important Win at Mansfield is the page that is visible on screen.
Yeah.
Again, we know that there's no navigational event at this time, so the page is not being loaded as a result of a bookmark or typing the URL in. It's just showing what was on screen previously, and we know that this page was previously viewed at 22:55 on the 27th of January. This tab gets closed and gets written to the database as well, and we see it's written with the timestamp 227.36 when the tab was brought into focus.
It's coming. Give it a
And
minute.
then we
I
go
don't want
back
to move
to
it.
the YouTube video tab. So at this point, the timestamp that had been written there gets overwritten again with 227.38, and it shows the YouTube video is the active page that's on the screen. At around 227.39, that tab gets closed and the record is written to the database showing a timestamp of 227.38 when the tab took focus, and the YouTube video URL. Then we move to 227.40, which was the time of interest, and we see that a browser switch occurs, causing the last visited timestamp to take on the time of 227.40. This is the tab that was ultimately used to search Hoss long to die in cold, which is the query that started all of the confusion. At this point in time, there was no navigational events recorded anywhere.
Wait, so we are at 3650. So what did they mute? At 3542, what did they mute? 35.
And it shows the YouTube video is the active page that's on the screen. At around 227:39, that tab gets closed and the record is written to the database showing a timestamp of 227:38 when the tab took focus and the YouTube video URL. Then we move to 227:40, which was the time of interest. And we see that a browser switch occurs, causing the last visited timestamp to take on the time of 227:40. This is the tab that was ultimately used to search.
This is the tab that was ultimately used to search. So let's go to the other video. This is the tab that was ultimately used to search. Where was it? I'm going to share this instead. Let me go back and see. 3541. 35. Oh my God. 35, almost. 35. Well, 35. Okay.
And when they came back, that tab was still open. Would that create a new timestamp?
As long as Safari doesn't close, then the timestamp will remain the same. So if I just minimize Safari, put it into the background and start to do other things on my phone, the timestamp won't get updated. If I completely close Safari or turn the phone off, when Safari reloads, then that tab does get a new timestamp when it opens up again.
Thank you.
Okay. So at 227:36, we've got Hockomock Sports, Gallery Shoots, Canton Girls, Basketball to Important Win at Mansfield is the page that is visible on screen. Again, we know that there's no navigational event at this time, so the page is not being loaded as a result of a bookmark or typing the URL in. It's just showing what was on screen previously, and we know that this page was previously viewed at 22:55 on the 27th of January. This tab gets closed and gets written to the database as well, and we see it's written with the timestamp 227:36 when the tab was brought into focus.
Okay.
And then we go back to the YouTube video tab.
Doesn't
so
have
at this point, the timestamp that had been written there gets overwritten again with 227:38, and it shows the YouTube video is the active page that's on the screen.
This is the tab that was
at around 227:39. That tab gets closed and the record is written to the database showing a timestamp of 227:38 when the tab took focus and the YouTube video URL. Then we move to 227:40, which was the time of interest. And we see that a browser switch occurs, causing the last visited timestamp to take on the time of 227:40.
This is the tab.
This is the tab that was ultimately used to search Hoss long to die in cold.
Holy shit! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God. Wait. 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 They muted it. They muted it. Hold on. I'm trying to take a picture of this. Hold on. Oh my God. Oh my God. Hold on. Hold on. Oh my God. I'm trying to take a picture of this where it says they muted this. And I'm trying to put the cursor so it shows where exactly, which is at 35. Where's the cursor? I need to see it. 3541 on the trial channel. Okay. 3541 on the trial channel. This is the same tab. That's what he says. So if I go to law and crime or law and crime trials, is at 3640. This is at 34. Oh my, wait. I'm struggling here to do this. 3640 ultimately used to search how long to die in the cold. Ultimately used to search how long to die in the cold. And if I take you out of this page, did you guys hear that? Who's here? Who's here with me? I need to know who's here with me. Because whoever is here with me just saw this with me. I don't know who's here with me. Oh my God. Okay. Did you hear it? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm not even sure what to click. Hold on. Wait. So I'm going to try to bring the transcripts of the law and crime trial and be patient. I'm on a one-hand situation. I forgot that today is the fundraiser for the defense diary, the cop. But I can't. I can watch it later. Wait. How do I do this? Okay, so let's put it this way. No. Let's put it this way. Let's minimize it. Let's go to more. And let's go to transcripts. Let's go to the transcripts. So I need to talk to trial channel. And ultimately, this was the tab. Can you see this that I'm showing? Because I need to document this. I heard it, but I don't understand it. So in other words, he just confirmed this is the tab that was used to search how long to die in the cold. Ultimately causing the last visited timestamp to take on the time of 22/7/40, and this is the tab that was ultimately used to search how long to die in the cold, which is the query that started all the confusion. But he's confirming. Then we move to the URL. Then we move to 22740, which was the time of interest, in which the browser switch occurs, causing the last visited timestamp to take on the time 22740. And this is the tab that was ultimately used to search. He just confirmed it. Am I the only one reading this like this? Oh my God. This is like another mental spasm, just like the Kevin Albert situation. So transcript. Semantically dissected, you guys. This is the tab that was ultimately used to search how long to die in the cold. And not only that, the trial channel, when he's about to say it, puts a line here that says they muted this. Look, they muted this. So when I was watching it now with all of you guys, right? Because I have the report pull up too. I'm looking at what he's reading. And that's the document that I talked about earlier, that it is on paper, that we have enough stuff to prove that they just bamboozled everybody. But it is on paper that this suspended tab existed and that somebody typed in house loan to die in the cold at 227.40. I said it earlier or was it yesterday? I'm not sure. But I said it that it was, oh my God, hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Holy shit. I don't know what to do. Hold on. So I gotta take a copy of that. I took a picture of that. And so what this means, okay, so if I look at the transcripts, just like we did on the other channel, right? If I look at the transcripts on this, and hold on, where are the damn transcripts? So the trial channel doesn't have transcripts? Really? What do you mean? What do you mean? Okay, so it doesn't matter. Let's go to the time. So the time was house loan to, okay, so she started around here, but it's not gonna show me. Oh, wait, there it is. Okay, so if I look at the transcript and I go to 35:46, the last time visited stamp, the last visited time stamp to take on the time 227.40. This is the tab that was ultimately used, and then it jumps. Search at this point, right? Are you looking at this screen? This is a trial channel version of the same testimony from me and Whiffen during trial 2 with Hank Brennan on direct. If I switch to law and crime trials and I look for the same wording at the same time that he's asking that question, the law and crime trials did not edit this. They did not edit it. So it says, then we move to the 227.40, which was the time of interest, and we see that a browser switch occurs, causing the last visited timestamp to take on the time of 227.40. This is the time that was ultimately used to search house loan to die in the cold, which is the query that started all of the confusion. He said it. He said it. Oh my God. Semantically dissected. He's being semantically dissected. So, do you guys follow me? Do you understand what I'm saying? Should I speak slow? Oh my God. So now what? Here we are. We should have like a contingency plan for when this type of things happen. We need to know what it is that we have to do, because I have no idea what it is that we have to do. So, how do I blow this up? Whiffing said it. I gotta get Whiffing said it. I gotta put this on Twitter somewhere, because he did say it. Edited. Oh my God, I can't. Edited, but found it. At Amit tag and ratio. Just found it. Oh my God. Semantically dissected. Oh my God. I don't know what to do. I'm going to have to watch the cross now tomorrow. What do you mean? We're not quite done, but the only thing that we're going to do is that we're going to switch to the trial channel because...
Which is the query that started all of the confusion.
Oh my...
At this point in time, there is no navigational events recorded anywhere. All we see is that the web page that was brought into view is ozonebasketball.com/teams. This web page was last visited at 14 minutes after midnight on the 26th of January. We know that this is on screen because it tells us that in Knowledge C.
Too late, Ian, because you just said what you just said. Oh my freaking God. I'm still in shock here.
And the record is written to the database showing a timestamp of 2:27:38 when the tab took focus, and the YouTube video URL. Then we move to 2:27:40, which was the time of interest, and we see that a browser switch occurs, causing the last visited timestamp to take on the time of 2:27:40. This is the tab that was ultimately used to search Hoss long to die in cold, which is the query that started all of the confusion.
He told us.
At this point in time, there's no
right there.
navigational events recorded anywhere. All we see is that the web page that was brought into view is ozonebasketball.com/teams. This web page was last visited at 14 minutes after midnight on the 26th of January. We know that this is on screen because it tells us that in Knowledge C, and we know that the time is 2:27:40 based on Knowledge C timestamps and based on the browser state database timestamp. At 2:27:42, there is a web navigation event. Whether this is loaded from a bookmark or whether it's typed in, I can't say, but a web navigation event occurs using the same tab that's just been loaded. And now the user is loading the web page hockermocksports.com/standings. This is logged in the history database that shows what web page is visited when, and it also shows in the Knowledge C database to show what web page is on screen at this time.
Mr. Whiffen, in the slide before 2:27:40, you mentioned that was the tab in question.
Yes.
Do the following pages that you show us in the PowerPoint follow that one specific tab?
Yes.
Thank you.
So at 2:27:47, there's another web navigation event as the web page hockermocksports.com/schedules is loaded. Again, this is evidenced in the history database to show that a navigation event occurred and completed, and in Knowledge C to show that this is the web page that was viewable on screen. At 2:27:53, there's a further web navigation event where we're now loading the page hockermocksports.com/schedules/girls hockey. Again, this is evidenced in the history database and the Knowledge C database to show what page loaded and what page was visible on screen. At 2:27:58, there's a further navigation event for girls hockey Franklin 21-22. Again, this is logged as a navigational event in the history database and shown on screen according to the Knowledge C database.
So I understand these are all subsequent searches on the same open tab.
Correct.
Your Honor.
Are these
Sustained as to form.
are these all subsequent searches on the same single open tab?
There is no tab switch event listed. we see the tab switch event occur at 2:27:40, and then we see lots of navigational events occur.
Say this, okay.
Thank you.
Hold on. Let's pause it. Let's pause.
At 2:28.
Okay, let's see. Okay, let me go back here. Okay, I hate to say this, but I think you're misunderstanding what he's saying. Know that you're wrong about the time, but it would be because he said that only if it was a different tab. Okay, so let me show you here. I'm going to show you why I'm doing this. So on this report that we just took from, hold on. On this report that we just took from the FOIA dump, right? I'm going to share this. As he is talking, I'm following this because, so let me see how I can explain it so it makes sense. When he starts talking on this report, on his report, he starts, like way out. He starts talking about history DB. The house loan to die in the cold, because it started on a suspended tab, on a tab that was open, that was used, and there were words put into that tab, but it was suddenly interrupted. That the record of that, the registration of that activity happening would never show up on the history DB. Okay, he calls it contentious record of 22740. So he starts talking and he starts explaining. There is only one place where something like that would be recorded, which is on the browser state DB database, specifically on the WAL portion of it, right? Because it's the write ahead log. He goes further and explain that database stores information about, pages or things that the user has viewed, but they don't necessarily have to be executed. What it does is, even if it's not committed, even before we commit to hit enter or execute, or not because I meant it would not be because he said that. I don't. Okay, I'm gonna need a little bit of more background. Sorry, I meant it would not be because he said that. I meant it would not be because he said that. I hate to say this, but I think, okay, let me go back. I hate to say this, but I think you're misunderstanding what he's saying. Not that you're wrong about the time, but it would be because he said that. Only if it was a different tab. I meant it would not be because he said that. Yes, he just said this is the tab where the house loan to die in the cold search happened. That's what he just said. Let me go back to the transcript because it's easier. 36 something. Here we go. Then we move to the 22740, which was the time of interest. And we see that a browser switch occurs, causing the last visited timestamp, right? We switch to the time of interest, which is the 22740. And we see that a browser switch occurs. Oh my God, you guys are not seeing this. Hold on. You may not be seeing this. Nope, you're not. Okay. Okay. Hold on. Yep. Okay, here we go. Then we move to the 22740, which was the time of interest. And we see that a browser switch occurs, causing the last visited timestamp to take on the time 22740. The last visited timestamp to take on the time of 22740. And this is the tab that was ultimately used to search house loan to die in the cold, which is the query which started all of this confusion. So tell me again, because I'll rewatch it and miss it and go back. Yep. What they are saying is that that tab keeps the same time and the current. No, the thing, and that's why I understand what you're saying, but that's why I brought, hold on, this document into the equation, because as he's been talking, I am following the document that I found where he actually said that when a tab is open and brought into focus, he's explaining this. First of all, it's different from history, the history DB, where it would never save, right? It would be saved on the browser state DB, and specifically, it would be saved on the WAL write ahead log. With a specific record, all cases are recorded on 4028. So he's telling us that the search term, house loan to die in the cold, can be found a total of 16 times throughout the entire browser state.db-wall file, which is the write ahead file, which will write every single thing that we do on our phones, regardless of whether we commit to it or whether we are abruptly interrupted and we, tap out of it or just leave it suspended. It will eventually register that artifact, not on the history, not on the other one, but it will register it on this one. Now, on the chart that he shows that I want to get to, and that's why I brought up the court thing, the testimony, on the chart that he brings up, you can see that every single one of the searches that he's trying to attribute this timestamp, this specific artifact, which is not a search. These were keywords that were entered into a tab that assumed that timestamp, the 22740, and it is identified by record 4028. There's 15,000 records. There's one 4028 record, one that matches the house loan to die in the cold. And if you see, he says, in all of the cases, the recorded record 4028 has the same timestamp because it's intrinsically, it belongs to that artifact in particular. So regardless, to me, whether it was an executed search, somebody hit search, even though they didn't, somebody hit enter, right? To figure out what they're saying is that the tab keeps the same time, the content changes, and it's associated with the earlier tab. I understand that. But the 227 timestamp that took over house loan to die in the cold could have never been at the same time or have the same sequent numeric number than the ones that she claims that she did at 634 or 632 or whatever, or 24. Because first, those two happen after. They have a very intrinsic spelling. None of them coincide. The first one at 624 does not coincide with the 22740. So the other two that she's claiming that she did at the request of your client, those were actually executed searches. So this one is different because this one is on the write-ahead log. The other ones aren't on the write-ahead log. The other ones are identified as if they were done in Safari. And that is, oh my God. I don't know whether you guys are following me but I was about to fall off my chair again for the third time. So as I'm following this thing, right, the actual report that he did. So it says repetitions like this across database is expected behavior. The difference is this repetition did not happen across databases. This particular 4028 timestamp, this search, this house loan to die in the cold, actually happened in one single database, which is the WAL. I don't know if that makes any sense. So you see, look, screenshot that shows 4026, 4027, 4028, 4030. You see what I'm saying? So you have several searches that appeared, but every single one of these artifacts don't appear on the browser state DB WAL. And I'm gonna double check all this with the two experts, the two people that I have been double checking everything, because I'm not gonna sit here, and I understand what he just said, and I understand what this means, and I know the difference between when he says like across the different databases. Every single database works in iOS for a specific matter, right? For a specific purpose. The write ahead log, what it does is it pretty much tracks everything you do on the phone, because if you happen to go back at any time and populate it, or try to revive, to bring back to earth that tab that you left suspended 2 or 3 days ago, you can't do that. So what tab number does he say in the testimony? What tab number does he say? I don't know. I don't think we've gotten there yet. But the house loan to die in the cold tab at 227 belongs to 4028. That's the unique UUID value number. It's the record 4028. I don't know if you see it here. So in other words, there were things that he said on trial that he didn't, backwards. There were things that he didn't say on trial. And he kept saying, it's on my report, it's on my report. Like the temperature. He never discussed temperature. He never brought that over or talked about it in front of the jury. He left it out, and he had previous discussions with Brennan, and Alessi at one point asked him, so you did have previous discussions about this testimony, about your report? And he kept, yeah, with Hank. And Alessi wouldn't understand what he was trying to say because of the accent. At one point, he understood that it was Hank, and he said, yes, with Mr. Brennan. So some of the stuff that he said on his report, or he had on the report, were not necessarily shared in front of the jury. And that's my point. So when the report came available, what I was trying to do between the report that he did on the other FOIA dump and this report was sort of compare them both, but scrutinize them while I was listening to the actual testimony and try to figure out, what did he leave out? Now, let's make it even worse. If you guys were here when we were looking at, what do you call it? At the trial channel, the same testimony that we are watching right now, we were watching it on the trial channel. And when we came about the time where he was starting to talk about the tab, the whole thing, right? What happened? She put a note and she said, they muted this. Can you see it? Let me take this off. They muted this. That's the note that the trial channel added to this video. So even if I were to go back like a few minutes and play it again, we're not going to hear it because she's telling us.
All we see is that the web page that was brought into view is ozonebasketball.com/teams. This web page was last visited at 14 minutes after midnight on the 26th of January. We know that this is on screen because it tells us that in Knowledge C, and we know that the time is 2:27:40 based on Knowledge C timestamps and based on the browser state database timestamp. At 2:27:42, there is a web navigation event. Whether this is loaded from a bookmark or whether it's typed in, I can't say, but a web navigation event occurs using the same tab that's just been loaded. And now the user is loading the web page hockamocksports.com/standings. This is logged in the history database that shows what web page is visited when, and it also shows in the knowledge C database to show what web page is on screen at this time.
Mr. Whiffen, in the slide before 22740, you mentioned that was the tab in question.
Yes.
Do the following pages that you show us in the PowerPoint follow that one specific tab?
Yes.
They jumped it. And that was my point. When the time came where he was going to talk about the tab, the 22740, and state that that shows the URL, how long to die in the cold, and that the browser shows blah, 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 blah. No history was created because he was never committed to it. Enter never happened. The search button was not hit. The search was not executed. That doesn't mean that the actual typing in and keying in the words into that tab that was prior to was the ozone basketball wasn't how long to die in the cold. It actually registered it. It created a unique number. And that's when I said, wait a minute, why? What do you mean they deleted it? What do you mean they muted it? And that's when I put you guys on pause and I started searching for Boston 25, anything other than the trials channel to see if I could find the same place where he was talking about the 22740 and if we could hear what we couldn't hear on the trial channel YouTube presentation of this testimony. Does it make any sense? So hold on.
Yes. The time that the tab was brought into focus or opened.
What does it mean brought into focus?
If you imagine you could have 5 or 6 or however many tabs in the background, you select one of those tabs to view, it makes it full screen, that would be considered in focus, and that would cause the timestamp to be updated.
Did you hear that? So that's what I think happened. At the end of the day, somebody had Jen McKay's phone. Right now, I could care less who had Jen McKay's phone and who did this search and who was the one playing that it got suddenly interrupted and did not complete the search because it was either alerted or told, what are you doing? Or no, don't do that. Or I don't know. I don't care. The fact that it happened on Jen McKay's phone shows that there was prior knowledge, that she knew that the reason why she keyed in those words was because there was a need to find out that information. And that is all I need. Because at the end of the day, this happened 4 hours before they found John. It doesn't matter if it was Ali, if it was Jen, if it was Matt. I don't care. It doesn't matter if the phone was downstairs, if Jen went upstairs with her watch. I don't care. The attempt to find out how long to die in the cold at 227 on a suspended tab, which was not committed because it was never executed and it was never, the search button never happened. The fact that the wall file registered it because that's what that file does. It records and it registers any activity, whether we commit to it or not. That's why it is on the browser state DB file WAL. And the fact that it happened, oh my God, man. Like she had just left 24 Fairview when she got to her house. She got to her house at 2:12. She dropped off the 2 kids. She drove by the corner of John's house before she went to her house. Her GPS puts her in the corner of John's house on Pleasant Avenue. She left at 1:47 in the morning, 34 Fairview. And by 2:27, there's an open tab, soccer or Hockamock sports related, which I don't know if everybody knows, but her kids are into sports. That's why they call her a soccer mom. Ali played lacrosse. Ali played all sorts of stuff, soccer, and the other one plays, I think it's, or she played hockey and the other one was soccer and lacrosse. I don't know. They're all into sports. You know how easy, you know how my kid all the time, when my teenager used to say, give me, can I have your phone? And she would start like looking into stuff in my phone. That happens all the time. So I don't know how I never cut this, because I'm into, the word salads, the things that they say it too quickly, that I have analyzed other situations that have to do with other cases where this happens often, and they're telling us the truth, but the way that they're managing to speed up during certain times, it makes it almost impossible for anybody to catch it. And the fact that this just came out, that I was looking at the trial channel, and all of a sudden she's putting a, thank God for that. Thank God that she actually put a note. They muted this part, they deleted this part, because if they hadn't, I wouldn't have. Tell me, do you know how many times you get vicious after you watch the same testimonies and trials and the depositions and everything? Over and over and over. You almost like you can recite it along with them, because you think that you know it by heart. But that also makes it sort of like it impacts negatively, because we tend to miss it, and we just got it. I'm gonna break because I need to bring this to somebody's attention, and I need to get off the live and do a couple of things. But oh my God, guys, thank you guys for watching. I'll put a note on the community thing the next time that I think I have time to do this. We need to keep reading through these documents. If somebody needs it or needs the link, let me know. I don't mind sharing it. I said that yesterday. So we'll continue later on. Be safe and enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye. Thank you for making me company.